Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 37. I am your host, as always, Nathaniel Rumpel Janc. And we're going to kick this off with a little bit of shot of kinky because Brian C., one of our members and moderators, decided to super chat, and I can't resist. You did it, Brian. You did it. You started my stream off in the way I did not want to start. And we have, as always, my co-host, Mr. Eric Moore.
Hello.
And special guest. I mean, folks, he reached out to me. You know how rare this is to have the finger gun maestro himself reach out and want to come on. I didn't even have to ask. He asked me. Mr. Jake Randall's in the house. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well, man. It's good to see you. I felt bad because I was trying to come on like in December and then at some point in January, and I almost made it to January.
Happens.
It happens. Exactly.
It does happen. Well, it's obviously been a really busy start to the year. I think for everyone, not just with personal life and everything. By the way, my condolences on your loss. I wouldn't bring it up, but you did mention it publicly. So
my grandfather passed, if anyone isn't aware, but it was something that we knew was coming for a long time. So I was honestly okay even when it happened. It was like I kind of already mourned and grieved. So.
Yeah. It's like you already kind of went through the pre grieving, and it was just all right. Let's just wait now. So I just wanted to say that thoughts all to you and your family.
Thank you.
To try to maybe spin it back around to something positive, I do have a smidge of a surprise for you. Now, my chat already knows what it is.
Okay.
My chat already knows because this happened on Monday. But we did this thing called the Wheel of Doom, where we spun a wheel, and every time there was like a $10 super chat or whatever, we spun a wheel, and crazy things happened. Eric got prank called in the middle of the night. Is your refrigerator running? It was pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Had to do like a shot of hot sauce and snort pepper up my nose, and I don't know. It was just dumb stuff. But one of the things was donate to a charity, and I'm happy to tell you I have an $82 donation because it was a random number picker donation, heading out to cystic fibrosis this week.
Oh, that's amazing! Thank you so much.
I just wanted to let you know. I was like, oh man, but this is perfect. Jake's coming on charity donation. Let's go.
That's incredible. Thank you guys.
And then let's go on top of that. Because I paid off my student loans today.
Hey!
I will also match that.
That's huge.
And go
That's awesome.
another $82.
Another 82. There you go. Double 82. So 164.
Oh, you don't have to do that. That's
no.
I
got money now. I have money now.
He's rolling in the papers. The student debt is gone.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations on no debt, and thanks so much for donating this.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a good cause. So
I figured that was a great way to kind of spin it back around to a positive note. So welcome everyone to the
it's amazing.
Welcome back, guys, to the Nintendo Pride podcast. Obviously, guys, we'll be talking about things like Pokemon Legends Arceus, some initial impressions, because hey, the game is out. It's the biggest game to launch on Switch so far this year. You could argue it's the biggest game in the last 6 months. It kind of depends on where you sit in the fandom. Some people would say Metroid Dread was a bigger deal. It's all about personal taste. And then we'll be talking about Sony a little bit because I don't know if you guys heard, they are apparently buying Bungie. Obviously, nothing's been approved yet, but that is a thing in the work, and that kind of follows up Microsoft's attempted acquisition at the moment of Activision Blizzard. Obviously, they also previously bought ZeniMax, which has Bethesda and id Software and some other companies as well. Beyond that, obviously, we could also talk about if that affects Nintendo at all, and if not, Nintendo needs to even do anything at all, because Sony's Jim Ryan did announce that they have more acquisitions coming. Jeff Keighley put out there that there's more acquisitions coming, that he knows about several that are in negotiations right now that are in the final stages. He didn't specify what company for. So this is not the end. There's going to be more acquisitions announced this year, so that is something we'll need to talk about because it does fundamentally change the landscape of gaming as at least we know it growing up. Beyond that, we'll talk about a potential Nintendo Direct this month because Nintendo's had a Nintendo Direct 7 of the last 10 Februaries. So
you can
say that's a 70% chance it's going to happen this month. And it's been 3 Februaries in a row. But we'll see. We'll see. Kind of cross our fingers.
The years that they didn't have it in February, did they have it in January?
No. They just didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Nintendo's a weird company. It was basically like the tweener years of Wii U and Switch. It was kind of people don't care about this system.
We don't have anything to show.
We don't have anything to show you. We have Breath of the Wild, but that's not coming till Switch. So yeah, we got that potentially happening this month, and maybe highly likely a massive hint from Monolith Soft on that front as well. So that's really interesting. We'll talk about that. And then anything else that tickles our fancy. But before we get into the topics, we got to start our week the way we start every single week, and that is, what have we been playing lately? I think for me, it's obvious. I've been playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that's basically it. A little bit of Madden leagues here and there, but that doesn't really matter. Pokemon Legends Arceus is significantly more fun. So that's what I've been spending my time since Friday playing. Eric, how about you? What have you been playing?
I've got my starter in Pokemon Arceus. That's as far as I've gotten because I ran out of time. No time over the weekend. Although the weekend was great because I did find out my sister is having a boy. So that was fun to find out and celebrate that over the weekend. So
Jake
not
makes
all
an excellent name.
not all crappy.
Did you do a big gender reveal party?
No.
Okay.
It was mainly just the grandmas and godparents, and then they just released a video to Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And that was
a social
pretty much
media
it. Yeah.
Cool.
What starters did you guys pick?
Yeah, who did you pick? You didn't even tell
I
me.
went with
I got fire.
the water.
Cinquedel or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Cyndaquil.
Yeah, I can't pronounce names.
Look
Look at this. I'm the Nintendo guy, and I can't pronounce Pokemon names.
Yeah, I think I went with the water one, which I think
Yeah,
is,
Oshawott. I did too.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
There we go.
See, so Jake, what have you been playing lately? I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I've also been playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. A lot of people don't know my channel for the first year was basically exclusively a Pokemon channel. My first videos that ever got 100,000 views were all Pokemon and Animal Crossing.
It's all
videos.
coming together. Pokemon game comes out. You want to come on a podcast. You don't really talk about this stuff on your channel anymore.
Yeah,
I see what's happening.
But I'm still like, it's my favorite franchise still to this day. I love Pokemon so much. So I've been enjoying Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I haven't started playing it yet. But I just picked up Dying Light 1 Anniversary Edition, and I want to play through that because I actually have been seeing a lot of talk about Dying Light 2, and it looks really good. But I'm the type of person where I'm almost OCD, where if like a sequel to a game comes out, I need to play all the other games before I play that. Doesn't always work out, so a lot of games I just miss. But for that one, I'm hoping I can get myself to play through the first one and then not be too burnt out on the gameplay loop that I'll actually play the second one too.
Yeah, I heard. So I played the first one. It was a solid game. The second one's weird because like the reviews are so all over the place. It's basically a love or hate. You either really love the game or you just don't like it. It's really weird.
How long is the first one?
God, I think I spent 35-ish hours with it.
Oh, it's kind of long. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also like not the best gamer in the world, so like to someone who might have more skills, it could be like 15, 20 hours. You know, it's kind of a. I'm not gonna sit over here and pretend that I'm a pro gamer or anything. I didn't defeat my first Lionel in Breath of the Wild until last year. And I've played like thousands of hours in it since launch, and only just last year beat a Lionel. So again, not the most pro gamer over here.
Well, neither am I, so I'm sure it'll probably take me 30 hours.
But yeah, it was a fun experience, and the second one's apparently even better. The parkour is apparently even better. The combat's even better. Everything seems to be really good. It's just really mixed feelings on it, which I find to be quite interesting. Sucks the Switch version's been delayed, which is weird since it's a cloud-only version. That being delayed as a cloud version, it doesn't run natively on Switch. They don't have to port anything. I don't really understand, but maybe this company has just not done a lot of cloud games, so this is all new to them too.
Yeah, and I know you're obviously a huge Switch guy, but that's the type of game where I don't really care if Switch has been delayed because I wouldn't play it on Switch anyways.
Well, when you hear it's cloud only, it's like
PC, Series X, or PS5.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean,
it's just that type of game for me. But I adore my Switch.
Yeah, no, I got the Xbox over here and the PC. I'd probably play it on there if I really want to. What I will say, when the cloud versions come out, they always have free demos. So I always like to try the demo to see, like, okay, does it actually run okay? Is it passable? For the most part, I don't have any hiccups with cloud versions of games on Switch. But I have a business line internet running to my house. Lots of people don't have that, so their mileage is really gonna vary a lot on their experience. And I will admit, I usually just play in dock mode, so I can do wired. So I don't have to worry about wireless connection. So I basically put myself in the best possible scenario, especially since Switch OLED came out with a native Ethernet port. So it's like, yeah, okay, well.
Right.
My experience is probably not going to be what most of you guys are experiencing, so do I even bother to talk about it? That's like, people are always like, how's cloud work for you? I'm like, I could be playing this on my PC on cloud. It wouldn't really make a difference. But
Yeah, well, same here. I feel like my experience is not the norm either because for me, like the portability factor is big on Switch, but like I still only play my Switch at home. You know what I mean? Like I don't like take the bus anywhere. Like I don't go places where I have time to like play the Switch. So I'm playing it in handheld mode, but at home. And the thing about my home is there's no area of my house where there's not screens. You see, there's two TVs next to my bed behind me. There's an 80-inch TV and a 70-inch TV in front of me, a 40-inch TV over there, a 30-inch TV over here, two
My lord.
27-inch monitors in front of me.
It
Every
kind of
part
sounds
of
like
my
my office
house
a little, except I don't got the 80 inch.
has something to actually play on. So like I don't like as much as I love the Switch, I don't like need it.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, the only reason to really have a Switch is obviously for the exclusives. If you're not okay with the pirating scene, because obviously Switch is easily emulated because it's old tech and runs just fine on current PCs. But again, I don't promote piracy, folks. If you want to do it,
Yeah.
hack your Switch, dump the game yourself, and then do it.
I'll show you guys. I actually own 400 physical Switch games. They're right over there.
Ooh.
And every Joy-Con ever made, and you can see my 4-box Switches up there. So I do love the Switch. Absolutely.
Are you going to be getting the Steam Deck when it comes out?
Yes, I am. I just completely messed up my camera.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Were you in the original pre-order phase, so like getting it end of this month, or are you later this year?
Oh no. Now hold on, I want to make sure I'm in your frame. But I am what's it called? I scooch
Yeah,
over a little
you're
bit.
good. Yeah, I know the camera's not exactly back where it was. You're fine.
Okay, all right. So I got a one pre-order. I got my dad to download Steam a few
Nice.
months ago. Because there's a Spaceball game he likes to play that was on there. And so I was trying to get a pre-order on my account and my dad's Steam account, and I got a Wave 1 pre-order on my dad, so I'm having him check his email every day. And I have a Wave 2 on my account. So obviously I'm counting on my dad's account. I'm paying for it. I just used his account to be able to get the order in.
Yeah, so you can get multiple orders and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one on order. I do want to get one. We'll see what happens. I'm one of those people that I like having technology as fast as I can. I had a PS5 for a little while there before I had some financial issues, so I sold it. But it's one of those situations where I have this thing where I don't have faith in Valve. Not only because they've burned several
I'm
times. I'm
shocked that they're actually saying that the pre-orders will start this month or they start shipping. I didn't have faith either. That alone surprised me.
Well, I mean, because
Yeah,
it was supposed to ship in December. It didn't. They delayed. Okay. Now it's shipping this month. They're sticking to it. They're not delaying it any further. All their pre-orders now are Wave 2 or Wave 3, which ends up getting basically to the end of the year at this point.
Right.
And I'm of mind that, like, look, I have a gaming PC. I'm probably not going to play any of my games on there portably because the games that I specifically play on PC are mouse and keyboard. Like Age of Empires 4, sure, I could play that on the Steam Deck, but why? I'm going to need to hook up a mouse and keyboard to really play it the way I want. And at that point, I don't want to play it on a portable system, you know? So I'm kind of mind that, like sure, I'll play it on my laptop, but again, a handheld's not really going to work for that. So for me, the Steam Deck, because since I don't play a lot of games on Steam or on PC in general that are controller based, because I'll just play that on Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch, it ends up kind of being a luxury purchase, which I would like to have. And obviously, as a Nintendo channel, hey, really great comparison. And by the time I get one, comparisons won't matter because they'll already have been done. But
yeah,
I'm
honestly, any new tech that comes out in the last year, that's been my justification is, I can make content on it.
Yeah. And that's one thing that made me almost try to get in on Wave 1, because I'm like, well, look, I get it on Wave 1, maybe I can do early comparison videos and it might be cool. Bottom line is, other creators bigger than me are already like getting the stuff early. They got the Aya Neo Pro already and did comparisons of that and all this other stuff, and it's not even available to own yet. So I'm not going to be able to keep up. I got lucky with Switch OLED, folks, that I got one like a week and a
Oh
half.
yeah, that
before
was
it came out.
awesome, man.
Like that was cool,
Yeah.
and those videos blew up and did really, really well because not very many people had one. But I got very fortunate in that situation. This is a situation where it's not going to be available at retail, so it's impossible for me to even attempt to get it early. It's going to come directly from Valve. I don't trust Valve. Valve has failed with hardware over and over and over again. That doesn't mean that Steam Deck is a bad system, but it means, do I trust the Steam Deck still going to be around in 2 years? That I do not. I don't trust Valve because Valve abandons projects really, 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 really quickly. So we'll see what happens. I hope for the best, and if nothing else, hey, the first runs of these, this first year runs of these, are always going to still work. It's not like they're going to stop working. It just runs SteamOS. You can always dump that and put Windows on it and call it a day, and it'll work just like the Aya Neo and all the other products out there. So, yeah, we'll see. I just, Valve has such a bad track record with hardware. And honestly, I am sour on Valve in general. This isn't me knocking Steam, by the way. I think Steam as a platform is fine. It's probably the best option on PC, to be completely honest. Even though I have my issues with it, it's still, when you look at the alternatives, they're not really better. But Valve, man, it feels like they created Steam, started making billions and billions of dollars off it, and decided we don't care about making games anymore. And that's my problem.
Right.
I have a hard time supporting things that just take them further and further away from what made people love Valve in the first place. And that was making amazing games. And they did make, to be fair, they did do the VR. God, what was that one game? Half-Life, the Half-Life VR game. And that one ended up actually being really, really good. It's probably the only VR game
Half-Life
I've ever
Alex,
tried.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only VR game I played that I legitimately really enjoyed. But it's so far and few between. I mean, the most popular games are still, Counter-Strike. Oh, when we get another one, we're not. Okay. Why does Back 4 Blood exist? Because you wouldn't make Left 4 Dead 3. Okay.
They can't get past 2.
Half-Life Alex is great, but are we ever getting 3? No. I mean, that's pretty obvious at this point. It's been so long. And it's like they have an issue, bringing out those games, and they spend all this time just focused on Steam and focused on the things that make them a lot of money. To me, this would be kind of like Microsoft having a platform that's really great for delivering, but then deciding that games don't matter. Like, we'll let everybody else do it, which now they're deciding games matter and they're buying studios so they can have games. So it's kind of a Valve went the opposite direction and said, nope, we don't care about making games. We'll just make money off everyone else's games. And it's just hard for me as a gamer to stomach it because Valve had unique IPs and unique games nobody else was making.
Yeah.
Portal. Amazing. We're not getting any more Portal games. Like it's just it's disappointing. And so I have a hard time being like, let me just support the machine that is part of the reason I don't get the games I want. Because like that's why I like Valve. That's why Steam took off, is because people like Valve games. So.
Well, I think that's part of why Steam took off. But I think it also took off because
there was nothing.
It's you can access your games from anywhere.
There was nothing.
You know what I mean?
It was
like
the wild,
any
wild
device
west
or whatever. It's not tied to a device. Like every Nintendo console ever. Like if you bought every game on the Virtual Console for the Wii, you'd have to buy it again for the Wii U. You can't buy it for the Switch. You would just have to get Nintendo Online. And I think that's another reason why people love Steam so much, is because no matter what upgrades come in PCs or whatever technology you're playing Steam on, it's always tied to your account.
Yep.
And you always will own those games, even though they're all digital. So that's another thing. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. I think that's another reason why they're kind of beloved, I guess.
Yeah, they gave a centralized location to keep all your games and not lose access. And that was really cool because like PC gaming in general, a lot of what you said is just PC gaming in general. You own an original copy of Age of Empires back in the 90s. You can still use it on PC today. But there was no centralized way to keep it. You had to keep track of all your own stuff, which is what's nice about Steam. Put it on multiple PCs. Everything you've ever bought through them is available. And if it won't run on your computer, it'll let you know, and that's a cool thing too, because Steam has added the ability to edit your game settings. Anyways, Steam's fine. I feel like it being successful is why we don't get Valve making a focus on games anymore. And that sucks.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm a huge PC gamer, so like it really sucks because they were like the games I always want on PC. Didn't buy them on other systems. Valve games or PC games to me.
Yeah.
Kind of like the
agree.
Dragon Age franchise from EA.
The one thing I will say about Steam Deck, like as someone who, helps people order new consoles whenever they come out, the way that Valve did it, where they let everyone get in a pre-order, and it's just whoever got it in first will be the first to send it out. Like that, I think, was also a huge breath of fresh air versus Sony and Microsoft,
everyone
where it's
else.
if you have bots, you can just keep getting them before anyone. You might have one person that doesn't have bots trying to get a console for the last year plus, and then meanwhile, someone with bots have been getting hundreds and hundreds of consoles. With Steam, they're like, no, everyone can get one. You don't know when you're going to get it, but it's first come, first serve. Whoever was first in, you'll get one. Then the next person will get one, and you don't know how long it's going to take, but at least your order's in. And when it's your turn in line, you'll get it. And I really, really like that because a lot of people were begging Sony and Microsoft to do similar things, and Valve at least was conscious enough to see that and be like, okay, let's do this a better way. And they actually got it to work. Knock on wood. It hasn't shipped yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I also think it's easier for Valve because they're the only supplier. They're not using retail. So I'm very curious to know how many of these they've even made. Like, when the first wave goes out, is it 1 million or is it 2,000? Like, I'm very curious to know what kind of manufacturing they secured, since they had to secure this manufacturing at the same point that other people can't.
Right.
Like, we just got the PlayStation 5 updated sales, which are amazing. But technically, it's now falling behind PlayStation 4 because Sony can't get enough manufacturing to make more of them. So it's I'm very curious to see how many are actually being shipped. And I guess we'll find out, because I have a feeling the reason they didn't ship it in December, there's man, we can't just send out 500 of these. That's not good. We need to wait till we have more. But we'll see.
No, I agree.
We'll see.
And not only wait till they have more, but again, they knew that even if they had a lot more than that, they would get bought up by bots and scalpers and then resold. And I think they were trying to stop that too. And I think we'll wait to see how effective it actually is, but at least they tried something different.
Yep. And I'll say, as I said, I think they were in a unique position to try something different because they're not reliant on retail, which is a great way to reach a bunch of different customers. I really, specifically for PlayStation 5, I like how Target does it, where it's localized. I feel like that really helps. I think that really helps combat against bots, because in my area, a small population area, I'm not fighting against millions of people. It's probably just your 50 or 100 in my area trying to get it.
Your local population.
That's not how everyone's doing it, so that's unfortunate. And I think that's what the thing about Sony and Microsoft is, they're so reliant on the retailers, and the retailers just
they don't want
their money. Their websites weren't even built for this. So it feels
it's
like
crazy how bad the websites act up. Companies like Amazon and Walmart, they just have billions upon billions of dollars. If they can't do it right, which they definitely can't, companies like GameStop have no chance.
Yeah, it's like, GameStop, you're a specialty. Yeah, we don't have that kind of backing. GameStop, though, they were the ones that I think started the wait in line and we'll let you in slowly. And then I don't know that I like that they keep it behind a pro membership now for a lot of it. But at least the pro membership's super cheap.
They don't do that anymore. They stopped doing the pro membership. They just do They still do bundles, though.
The bundles, yeah.
They don't do the wait in line. The first one to do that was actually PlayStation Direct.
PlayStation Direct, yep.
And then Best Buy started doing it. And now Walmart.
Does Best Buy still? Are they still doing it? Or because they started that $200 membership thing? Are they still holding pre-orders for that?
So they do what's called Total Tech Mondays, where if you have that $200 membership, occasionally on Mondays they'll drop consoles and only those members can buy them.
Okay.
But then later in the week
Monday.
They'll drop them for everyone.
Okay.
And
so
since Christmas, since demand died a little bit, they actually haven't had any of the Total Tech drops. They've only had.
Okay.
So maybe those are gone for good, but I'm sure again, next holiday season we'll see stuff like that pop up more. But actually, every single retailer locks their drops behind a membership. Walmart and Amazon as well. Amazon, you need Prime. Walmart, half their drops, just like Best Buy, you need Walmart Plus.
I didn't even know Walmart Plus
the
was the
only retailer that doesn't do bundles or a membership is Target.
Okay,
that's the only one left. Any other
Well,
retailer either does bundles only or locks it behind a membership.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they're doing like they're struggling as is, and I guess it's a way to filter it to struggle less, but also you're
Well,
asking
I
people
will
to
say
pay for the
this.
privilege.
It's 100% a cash grab, right? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
free
yeah.
money for
Oh,
them.
yeah.
It's kind of scummy. But on the other hand, it actually has helped a lot of people because Walmart used to have some of the worst restocks for PS5 ever. They would get botted. It would be terrible. But once they started doing Walmart Plus, which you can do a 1 month membership for $13, so not that much,
Mm-hmm.
it went so smooth.
I bet.
And so many real people, not scalpers, were able to get a console because of that. So
yeah,
even though
I
it's
think
scummy on
probably the
Walmart's
least
part, it
effective
actually
one,
helped a lot of people.
the least effective one, I would think, is probably Amazon Prime. Just as a customer,
Everyone has Prime
because
pretty
everyone
much.
has Prime. It's
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
We use it for
Right.
shipping. You know, you get access to other things as well. So, like, I don't know that keeping it behind.
But
Prime
the thing
would-
is, because everyone has Prime, the fact that they lock it behind Prime does nothing to help
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Because
that's what
everyone
I'm
already
saying,
has
yeah.
it. They're like one of the worst retailers to restock.
I didn't even know
ever. It's
Walmart
almost
Plus was a thing
impossible
until
to
you
get
brought it
through.
up. So I literally never shop on Walmart. So
Yeah.
every time I've attempted to go there for a system, the website crashes. So I just give up. I'm going to Walmart.
With Walmart Plus, it's like a completely different thing. It's better
Is
than
it?
Target. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it's weird.
I want to know because I want to get a PlayStation 5 this year for myself because there's so many games coming out I want to play. I gotta.
Walmart Plus is
lock it in.
honestly one of the best ways now. And if you're willing to pay for a bundle from GameStop, those are really good too, because now like the resale price of the PS5 is so low, scalpers won't even touch the bundles because they don't want to have to try to resell the extra stuff.
Sure.
So,
I get that.
The last time GameStop had an Xbox bundle, it stayed in stock for 7 days, a
Wow.
week.
Wow.
Which is just like crazy. And it
That's
wasn't even
insane.
that expensive. It was under $700. And just demand was just so far gone.
Mhm.
This happened last year though too. January, right after the holidays, everyone's all right, I'm done. And then it
Mhm.
picks up momentum again throughout the year. So I expect it to like go up and down, fluctuate, but
Yeah.
now's the time to buy one, honestly, because a lot of people are just like, I'm done.
Plus, like now's right before tax returns hit, and then people might be like, "I got the cash now. Let me try again."
Yeah, that's true.
So that could be another rush coming here end of this month or in March. All right,
Yeah.
well let's get into our first topic. That was fun though. It's
Thanks for letting me
always fun
geek
to
out.
talk to the
That's
expert.
obviously my thing. Thank you.
It's obviously nice to talk to the expert. All right, let's talk about that new Pokemon game that came out, huh? Shall we? Pokemon
Yeah.
Legends Arceus, everyone. Arceus,
Yeah.
Arceus.
I think it's Arceus.
There's no voice acting, so I don't know.
Yeah, right. Nobody ever bothered to say the actual name.
I mean, they did in Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an English commercial that probably says it, and I just never paid attention.
You know the channel Nintendo Life?
Yes. Yep.
Alex and John were saying it's Arceus at one point, I
Arceus?
think.
Okay.
So I just kind of trusted them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there was
it's
someone in the
usually
chat that
wrong.
corrected me when I was playing it last week, and I was like, you know what? I just don't care.
How do you correct someone?
Dude, you cannot talk about Pokemon for 5 seconds without being corrected.
Oh yeah, so that's the way.
It's just an unwritten rule.
Yeah, and like as you guys saw with my pronunciation of my starter that I still will not pronounce correctly, I don't really do
Cyndaquil.
good with.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
don't-
hard.
Yeah,
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's the easiest.
But
one.
but he's not that anymore. He's been evolved. So
Yeah.
Typhlosion.
the,
Cool Lava?
Did say it was
I
Like
haven't liked
Typhlosion.
Pokemon for 20 years.
He
So
did say it was
I-
his favorite
anyway.
franchise.
Dude, he's
so-
from Gold and Silver. You gotta know him.
No.
I mean, I
I'm teasing.
That's-
You're fine. You're fine.
Well, Pokemon was just locked out of my brain for 20 years. Just did not care. Literally didn't care till
Yeah.
Switch.
You have to be as big of a nerd as me. Come on.
Clearly. I mean, if we want to start getting into some Zelda and some really obscure characters in there, then I might be able to get you a little bit.
Well, you're the expert on the ending of the Ocarina of Time, right?
Oh boy.
oh
Got me.
Shots fired.
Got me.
Woo.
Got me there.
You know I watch you, man. You know I watch your content.
I'm well aware. I'm actually it's shocking because a lot of people don't watch my daily videos, which is totally fine because it's news, and if you got the news or you heard about the news, you don't need to watch the videos. But there was like 4 different people that I was talking to the other day that were like, other content creators or like people that worked at other companies, and they're all like, the only thing we watch yours is your podcast. Your podcast is awesome. And so they can call me out on literally everything I've ever messed up on in my podcast
I really
history.
like your daily video, your content actually. What I would compare you to is someone else that I watch like almost every day is like Review Tech USA. And I just kind of like putting on something where like someone is clearly, it's not scripted, you know what I mean? You're just like talking about all of like the contemporary stories. Maybe it's like a little scripted to keep you on track, but like for the most part, you're just like talking about it, and I'm just like listening. I don't know. I just like listening to that kind of stuff every day. So I really enjoy it.
Of course, you had to bring up the one person that chat thinks is my dad, so. Guys, I'm almost as old as he is. He literally would be, he wouldn't even been able to sire me. He would not have hit puberty yet to be my dad.
That's my dad.
But anyways, yeah, no, I do get compared to him a lot. Probably because, maybe it's because I drink on stream, or maybe it's because of, I don't know. We're both fat.
I just made a comparison because I just like the content is like it's up my alley.
You know what's happened though since I grew this beard? Because I didn't always have this. I used to be fully clean shaved. Now people are like, dude, you look like RGT85 all the time now. You got the flat bill hat and you got the beard going. I can't tell the difference in thumbnails anymore. You guys are like the same person. I'm like, oh.
Everybody has a beard now.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks good. I can't help it looks good.
I look like I'm 12 without it, so you know.
I mean, I wouldn't mind looking 12, but I gotta lose the weight, thin out the face.
I look like I'm like 15 with it, you know. So it's I gotta have it.
All right, so Pokemon Legends Arceus, obviously the largest release so far of this year, I think, for any platform, although obviously Sony's got a bunch of big stuff about to hit. We just got the Gran Turismo today, actually. They did that little state of play for that. Looks really good. Pokemon Legends Arceus is a big deal for a number of reasons. Besides the fact that it is obviously the Nintendo Switch's huge game to kick off the year. This is kind of like this year's Animal Crossing New Horizons situation, this year's Monster Hunter Rise, kind of the big game to try to get the Switch momentum going to the start of the year. What's interesting, obviously, is that, guys, it's a complete departure from traditional Pokemon, and yet it's called a mainline Pokemon game. I know that's still a debate fans like to have. Some are in complete denial that it's a mainline Pokemon game, but the Pokemon Company and Game Freak and Nintendo have all called it mainline. So it's titled as a mainline game. It's literally listed in the mainline timeline. I think people just, there's some people that don't like the game, so they think it should be considered a spinoff, I suppose. That's probably where a lot of it comes from. Now, I've always spent some time with it. I'm not, super deep into it. I didn't get to play it over the weekend. I just had a lot going on. I played a smidge before the podcast today. I'm basically about to enter the third region. I'm in some major cutscene right now, so I stopped it because I'm like, okay, I really want to pay attention.
I think I'm in a similar place to you, and I'm like exactly like 7.5 hours. I think my save file said.
Yeah. I think I'm a little over 10, but I spent a lot of time catching Pokemon.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm about to hit my 3rd star rank and enter the 3rd area. And there, as I said, there's some major cutscene happening right now that I literally just said, nope. I need to like actually fully. I got a podcast coming. I got to fully pay attention to this because I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this key story thing going on. And the thing is, that's what's crazy to me is, when's the last time I've been invested in a Pokemon story? Not even Gen 1 and Gen 2 that I care about the Pokemon story.
The only like mainline games that really even had or tried, I feel like, at the story were Black and White and Black and White 2, and a lot of people didn't play those.
So for me, because my perspective with Pokemon is very similar to his, where we just didn't really play it for 20 years. Kind of got tired of the tedium and tired of always having a billion new Pokemon every generation.
Shame on you.
The gameplay loop just got boring after a couple generations. And so
Blasphemy.
Still enjoyed other games. I played Detective Pikachu, Pocket Tournament, and stuff like that. But and obviously new Pokemon Snap. I really love that. I love the first Pokemon Snap, so it was no shocker if I love the original. The new one I think is even better. So yeah, I really like the new one a lot too. Even when I don't recognize a bunch of the Pokemon, I don't really care. It's still cool. But what's interesting about, and by the way, full disclosure, I did beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Everyone already knows because I beat it on live stream.
Hey,
I played
same.
7 Tuesdays in a row to beat it, and the ending was double middle fingers, mass delete off my system, never playing again. Did not enjoy it. It was a torture fest the entire time. So much so
Oh, no.
that I was fully willing for someone to trade me a bunch of level 100 shinies so I could just smash the Elite Four and be done with the game.
Did you play Sword and Shield?
No. Demo. I played the demo.
Yep.
Okay.
Didn't like the demo.
I was just curious. I didn't have a point to that. I was just
Yep.
wondering.
Did not like the demo. Did not like any of the trailers I saw. Said, you know what? This doesn't look much different. It just has an open area to catch Pokemon.
I have over 1,000 hours on it. Like I said, I used to live stream it every day on my channel for like a year.
I hear you. So to me, and this was what I thought was funny, because I put out a tweet on Friday, the day it came out. I just, I wasn't even that far into the game. I don't even think I was past Cleaver yet. And I put out a tweet that was something to the fact that like Pokemon Legends Arceus is the greatest Pokemon game I've ever played. And it's funny because in context, I haven't played a lot of Pokemon games. So if you know me, it's really not that big of a statement because
You've played maybe 4?
I haven't played a lot of them. But it's funny because that tweet literally blew up and had like 2,000 plus likes and retweets and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. And I thought it was kind of funny. So it's like, okay, well, none of these people watch me because they're just doing this because they really like the game. I still stand by that statement today. And while it's easy to say that I haven't played a lot of the Pokemon games, so how dare you? I just played Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, and I played, it just reminded me, I know it's a Gen 4 game, so like obviously things have evolved a lot since then, heading into Sword and Shield. I don't like the gameplay loop, and the gameplay loop hasn't changed in any of the Pokemon games. It's still Pokemon is Pokemon. It hasn't changed. Like, you could try all these new things, the Gigamaxing, and all this other stuff, but the gameplay loop is fundamentally the same.
You mean Gigantamaxing?
Gigantamax. See, correct me on that.
Dynamax.
So I don't like it.
Did you?
I hate it.
Wait.
I hate running into trainers every 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. Every 30 seconds.
Have you seen my Pokemon rap, Nate?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing I knew that he likes Pokemon because I've seen that.
I made that for when the Sword and Shield, when the first DLC came out.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I could go back and play any of those games, X and Y, Black and White, Black and White 2, whatever, doesn't matter. Throw any of the games at me. Platinum, I don't give a crap. I'm not gonna like it because I don't like the gameplay loop. And if I don't like the gameplay loop, the rest of the game doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, they don't like, especially younger gamers, just because younger gamers gameplay in a lot of games was already so far past that turn-based thing that, like, when they were introduced to such more immersive types of gameplay, it's hard for them to just like get into that. Now, for other people who are like closer to our age, a lot of them are nostalgic for that turn-based thing, and that's why Pokemon continues to sell. But a lot of them are like you, where like it never really, like, yeah, maybe you like the first Pokemon or whatever, but it never really clicked, and like the sequels and stuff, you just didn't want them anymore. So I think this is great because the turn-based ones aren't going anywhere. They just released one a couple months ago, right? They're going to probably still do that. But I think they're going to try this other stuff too, which is great for people that just, Pokemon's fun, like no matter who you are, like just like the idea of Pokemon. And I think it's awesome that they're like exploring this. So it's like, okay, you don't like the people that don't like Arceus? Okay, that's fine. You're going to have like games like this. And that's what they try to do, I think, with Let's Go. Like, you don't like this kind of gameplay? Okay, you can still be involved in the Pokemon world, and here's a gameplay that you might like better. And
I like Let's Go.
With Arceus, when I first looked at it, I thought what a lot of people were saying, which is it kind of looked like a Monster Hunter gameplay type loop. But once I played it, RGT85 actually was like, it's kind of like Pokemon Monster Hunter, but also like Pokemon Snap. And I was like, yes, that's the other part. It is kind of like Pokemon Snap, because like you're going through, you're seeing all these different kinds of Pokemon, but it's like the Pokemon Snap I kind of always dreamed of, where you can actually get out and catch the Pokemon too. So it's kind of like all three of those things blended. And it's a really nice gameplay loop. And I think they did do a good job, and I think they can build on this for sure. And I'm just really excited for what else is coming. Now, for me, as someone who's just like a diehard Pokemon nerd, kind of the opposite maybe, of you for like those. Like for me, I'm like super excited when like a generic same thing we've seen for 20 years turn-based Pokemon comes out. I'm all hyped for it. So my opinion of this game was it was not the best Pokemon game I've ever played. But it did exceed my expectations.
What were your
And
expectations?
I do like the game, and I like it more than the Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, Shining Pearl remakes. I don't know whether I like it more or less than Sword and Shield, but it's because they're different. I like them both. You know what I mean? So, anyways, that's my take. I don't want to like hog the whole floor here, but
No, you're fine. For me, obviously, I didn't like the gameplay loop of the main series as it was, and something about this game, and it took a little bit to click because like at first, I was being hypercritical. Like right on live stream, I mean hypercritical of the visuals at first, and the same criticism I had of like Horizon Forbidden West
the
coming out and Zero
visuals do
Dawn.
bother me.
Yeah. Where like I clip through grass and clip through foliage, and I hate that, and that happens in this game too. And call me a spoiled gamer, whatever. I've experienced games where that doesn't happen. So when I see that in a AAA style game, it really bothers me. And it happens in this game, which I kind of expected it would, because there's already other visual issues, the completely flat textures on some trees. Now, now certain trees actually look really good. I like how they bundled the textures together, where from like right at the right angle, that tree actually looks really nice. But like once you thin it out, like the other trees, like the pine trees, it just looks like garbage. But as the game finally opened up around the time that, I'm not a big spoiler, guys, it was in the Cleaver quest. Once you do that, or get to the point that you can do that, though, it opens up and basically lets you do anything. You can go explore now. You can freely explore that first zone right at that point. And what's interesting is once that happened, the game just clicked. Because now I've got my fully open experience that I can go anywhere and do anything I want, basically catch whatever Pokemon I want. I could skip catching them and go straight to Cleaver if I want, but I wanted to explore. I wanted to find the enraged Pokemon. I wanted to find the different sizes and the different things. I wanted to watch how they interact with the world, because some of them do interact with the world in interesting ways. Excuse me. And I wanted to find a lot of things with this game where it just, from that point forward, and as I went into Zone 2 and it got even better, and now as I'm entering Zone 3, and I can already tell Zone 3 is going to be an absolute blast. Everything about this, I think, clicks with me because my favorite game of all time is Breath of the Wild, and my favorite part of that game is exploration. And this game kind of sort of has that. It's not the crazy exploration where you have to look in every single nook and cranny for things. But it's there, and there's a lot to discover. Like, I didn't realize until like I was almost done with Zone 2 that, I can unlock camps and add new camps to the map. I should have realized that it happened in Zone 1, but it was handed to you in Zone 1, not handed to you in Zone 2. You have to go explore, discover it yourself, and unlock it. You could literally end up skipping that entire part of the game because the game doesn't force you to do it. So basically, it lets the leash off, and you got to figure it out on your own. And I really like that idea of exploring and figuring out. It got really excited. Zone 2 was so much better than Zone 1, just for that alone. Let alone,
no, it's funny that you say all those things, because like you're so right, and it's the type of game where you have to get to that point to see how good it is. You have to get that far. If you give up on it before then, you're not experiencing it.
Yeah,
and it's funny. I know the game itself has a lot of comparisons to Breath of the Wild, and you were just comparing it to Breath of the Wild, but to me, it's similar to Breath of the Wild in the way that Breath of the Wild was my least favorite Zelda game when I first played it for the first few hours. With Ocarina of Time was always my favorite Zelda game of all time. And with Ocarina of Time, the experience I had with that when I played it back in 97 when I was 6 years old was I immediately got hooked. So addicted, it grabbed me. With Breath of the Wild, I was overwhelmed. There was so much going on. It seemed empty, whatever. I actually played it for a few hours and then put it down and didn't play it for over a year. And then eventually I came back to it. And I got past the tutorial, and then about 5 hours after the tutorial, I got that Ocarina of Time feeling again, and it ended up becoming my favorite Zelda game of all time.
That's insane.
And just incredible. And to anyone that, like, I know there's so many people out there that, like, I just don't like Breath of the Wild, even to this day. I'm like, I wish you would play it past 10 hours. And I know that's such a commitment for a game that's not clicking with you. But the payoff is it will become that type of game. And same thing with Arceus, I would say.
Yeah, see, unlike Breath of the Wild doesn't really hold your hand basically at all. It won't let you leave until you get the 4 abilities, but you could freely explore that whole area, do whatever you want, any order you want, and have fun. And that's amazing, and that's what makes that in my opinion, the Breath of the Wild tutorial area the best tutorial ever, because the tutorial is you can do anything you want within the confines of this area. So do it.
But for me,
Figure
and
it
I think
out.
for some people, that's kind of overwhelming, and they want to be directed a little bit more.
Sure, and I can agree with that. But I do think this game, that was my one criticism I had, is that it's slow to get to where it just clicks. And I kept trying to use the defense while I was streaming. I get what they're doing. Pokemon has a wide appeal. Technically, it's usually always aimed at kids, but enjoyed by adults. They got to consider the younger audience that this is all new mechanics for, or people that have only played the main line and they don't get outside the Pokemon like realm to experience other games out there. They just play Pokemon. They might need their handheld. They might need to be walked through the steps of how catching works, how sneaking works. This is how camps work. This is how fighting cleaver and also like all the stuff where the Pokemon attack you now. You've never had this happen to you before. This is how you deal with that. This is and it gets to a point where, for me, as someone who plays a lot of other games, I'm like, okay, I don't need to be told this stuff. This is a lot more fun for me to just figure out on my own. That's part of the fun. Like, why when I got the Zone 2 did it feel so much better? Because they took the damn reins off. And I finally got to make my own mistakes and figure out my own stuff. And people, you don't really do that in the first zone that much. Even once it opens up
and let me ask you this. I don't want to like totally interrupt your train of thought, but let me just ask you this real quick. If they hadn't done that, like if the game started and it gave you the freedom of Zone 2 right away, wouldn't that have been kind of overwhelming? Like you kind of needed that first part, even though it kind of sucks.
Just don't let me leave Zone 1.
You kind of need that.
Don't let me leave Zone 1 until I complete the task you need me to complete.
Yeah.
I would have been totally fine. I mean, that's the way Breath of the Wild was. It didn't let you leave that first zone until you completed the tasks you needed to complete to be successful in the rest of the game. So it's like, let me go. You give me the quest. I'm in the town. I can pick up whatever quest I want. Just let me do whatever the hell I want until I complete whatever that main objective is that lets me move on, which in this case would have ultimately been, I think, cleavers.
I feel like they were just trying to be careful with it, though. Play it safe.
Sure.
Make sure. Because, again, the thing with Pokemon is a lot of kids play it.
Yeah,
so maybe they
that's why I kept telling myself,
just to be sure that, hey, if like a 6-year-old is playing this game, or maybe like a 7-year-old, because there's a lot of reading, even they will be okay once the reins are taken off. So maybe they did overdo it a little bit for like an adult playing, or like an older person playing like us.
A more experienced gamer, I'd say, playing it. That plays more than Pokemon or has a lot of because as you mentioned,
they don't do difficulties.
You got like 5 hours in, and then you had that Ocarina of Time moment where it's like, okay, I get it.
But they did a really good job with it, because now that I think about it, there's no difficulty setting.
No,
but there's really challenging things you can do in the game.
Yes,
if you want to take them on, but you don't have to do them to beat it.
Yep.
And they did that really well. Now that I think, I didn't really even realize that before. They did a good job with that.
Yep. So to me, a lot of my experience with this game is simply, this is what I've wanted Pokemon to be since I played Gen 1. Every other top-down 2D game that you played back in those 90s days got 3D iterations on home console. From N64 moving on. Mario moved into a whole new plane of existence with Mario 64. Zelda with
a lot of people never played Pokemon Coliseum.
Sure.
It is literally a 3D Pokemon game, like the Game Boy games. It plays just like them.
Yeah, I play Coliseum and Stadium. I love them.
Well, Coliseum and its sequel, Gale of Darkness, didn't have to do with Stadium. They were different things.
Yep, I know. Okay. You don't gotta give me. Trust me, you don't gotta give me.
Gen 1 Pokemon.
I know. You're trying to catch me there.
And you had the coolest starters of all time in Coliseum.
Yeah, I don't remember who the starters were.
Umbreon and Espeon. You started.
I only spent about 10 hours on that one. Okay. I really enjoyed it, but I think I was wrapped up. I was also a kid back then, so I was legitimately wrapped up with.
I'm like, I have an unfair advantage because I replayed it last year.
Oh well, that both you. Plus, you really like Pokemon, so your memory of these moments are gonna be a lot better.
I'm a huge nerd.
Yeah, I'm a huge Zelda guy, and yet Ocarina of Time ending just Nope.
No,
To be fair,
no.
Ocarina of Time's
I
not
was
even in my
teasing
top
you.
10
You
Zelda
are,
games, so
you
give me a
are.
break, folks.
And you know what? To be fair, you had a valid point. Like I saw what you meant.
Yeah, but also it was not in my top 10 Zelda games. So I probably haven't replayed Ocarina of Time since it released on re-released on the 3DS and beat it once. Haven't played it since. I don't have a desire to play it. I think it's just an okay game.
Oh,
And
really? It's
that's
my, oh, I
blasphemy.
love that game.
It's
so
it's
much.
such blasphemy when people. I'm like, yeah, I just think it's all right. I think the story's
What's your
great.
favorite Zelda
Yeah.
game?
I just think it's okay. What?
What's your favorite Zelda game? Breath of the
Breath
Wild.
of the Wild. Yeah.
Okay. What about
I
you,
like
Eric?
games that give me freedom. So like Zelda 1, awesome. Zelda 2, awesome.
Which was your favorite?
I love Zelda
game?
2 also. That's a
Zelda
really
2 was my favorite until Breath of the Wild. So
it's really good. I love that. Yeah.
like
It
a lot of
gets-
people that
it
don't
gets
like
bad
it is one, it's a lot different than the other Zelda games. Because it's more like a RPG back in the day, where you had the open world map and then random encounters.
You leveled up?
Then it added that side scrolling element, which just it just everyone's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, you know what, though, guys?
Dude, I think the first Zelda is almost unplayable. The second one's great.
The first one's like that game. Like if you've never played it, you need a guide. It's just,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can figure it out if you're willing to deal with punishment. But like, but Zelda 2, it's funny because people always talk about the difficulty, and I'm like, I think the difficulty you're talking about is the combat, because the combat in the game in Zelda 1, A Link to the Past, a lot of the Zelda, you can kind of just mash buttons and win. You can't in Zelda 2. You actually have to direct your attacks and have
It's
some
very hard.
skill.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, then yeah, you're gonna get wrecked. And plus there's magic, and that's a whole new thing because we have spells, and very few Zelda games deal with spells. You know, even in Ocarina of Time, it's okay, yeah, every spell is smashing the ground and something happens and it emanates from you. It's like, well, that's not what these spells are. So it's very interesting. I really love Zelda 2.
Yeah,
but
the thing about Zelda 2 is it's difficult. The first one might be harder, but like I feel like an incentive to keep playing and get good at Zelda 2, whereas Zelda 1 I just get frustrated. I'm like, I'm not having fun.
So Electro TDS is trying to catch me right now because I'm on record saying I don't enjoy Minecraft. And they're like, but Minecraft's really open. Minecraft is also, I know that there's a lot of different modes and a lot of different things, but it's about destroying crafting and building. And I don't like doing any of that. So if I want to do that, I'd rather just bust out my Lego set
Since
and
you
actually
are
build with
primarily a Nintendo and a Switch channel, and you just mentioned Minecraft, can I take this opportunity to plug my favorite Switch game of all time?
Go for it. Yeah.
I hope one of you guys have played it.
I probably
Dragon
heard of it.
Quest Builders 2.
Dragon Quest Builders 2. Yes. Yep. I played it.
Did you enjoy it?
It was better than Minecraft. That's the only
See,
compliment I'll
that
give
game
it.
I feel like is Breath of the Wild mixed with
Minecraft.
like
Sorry.
a regular RPG mixed with Minecraft,
Yeah.
mixed with like Animal Crossing.
It was more enjoyable to me because I actually like Dragon Quest. So there is also that little bias to go along with it. And it obviously had a lot more RPG elements. Which
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, and then a more coherent story and
I
everything else.
just love building villages and then recruiting villagers to come on, and the
Like,
fact that there was an actual story to play through when I did that.
Sure. Well, I don't know what it is about Minecraft. I've just never really gotten into it. I've tried. It's so popular. It's so huge.
I don't
if I
like
was
Minecraft
a
at
Minecraft
all.
channel, guys, you
Dragon
know how
Quest
big
Builders
I'd
2
be.
is
I just
The best.
don't care about Minecraft. And it's cool.
I don't either. Another thing with Minecraft I don't like about it is just the visuals. It's just very unsatisfying to me. Like I don't want to build stuff that's like all like blocky like that.
Pixely.
I
Literally.
like crafting and building up villages and games like that. But maybe that's why I like Dragon
guessing
Quest
you weren't a
Builders 2.
RuneScape fan back in the day.
I never played RuneScape.
Because it's not a very good looking game.
No.
Just put it
No.
that way. And anyone can play it. And it's not very good looking though.
Yeah.
Roblox is kind of that way too.
I think for me, Minecraft was I enjoyed it so much because we had a server with my friends and
Yeah,
we just
the community aspect.
Just
when
playing
you
with my
play
friends
a game
is
with
the way to do
friends, it can make it a totally different game. Like I never played Fortnite for years and years, and I recently started playing last year with a bunch of friends. Now I play Fortnite like almost every day.
Yeah. No, we made a chicken coop so big that it was past the render distance, and you could
Yeah.
hear it from like 300 squares away. I mean, it was just insane how big the chicken coop was. You would go through to thin out the flock, and you would break about 4 swords, and you would barely make a dent in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's kind of like for me
That's
with
amazing.
Smash. Like I don't really like fighting games. Smash Bros is like the only one I can sort of tolerate, but only for little sessions. But if I have a bunch of friends together, I'll play Smash the drinking game. I'll play.
Oh yeah,
We'll go hardcore on Smash. But like
Mario Kart would be my one for like
and the thing is,
local
I
friends coming
legitimately
over.
enjoy Mario Kart, so I can at least play through the single player once. I probably won't do it again. Like I won't go through 50cc 100. Like I won't do all of those. Like just beat it the one time. But I like Mario Kart 8. The online was actually a lot of fun, and they had like sort of a ranking system with it. And what's great about Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is that you do tournaments, which is really cool because then I can just get my whole community to come in and play with me, and that's a lot of fun. So I don't feel like I need friends for that anymore. But it's still, of course, it's still a blast to play with friends.
Oh wait, can I answer this one question in the chat?
Yeah, go for it.
Doggy said, Jake, what message would you say for those who despise Fortnite? Because I used to be one of those people. And I obviously, anytime Fortnite get mentioned, everyone's just like, Fortnite sucks, blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't even disagree with the people that say that. Like, that's totally legit. But I will say 99% of the people that do that don't play it. They just say that because they're like just so sick of how popular it is and seeing it everywhere. I will say that like, if you just play it by yourself, you probably won't get any enjoyment about it. If you wanted to like try to get into it, do it with a friend. What's awesome about Fortnite is your first match is always against bots. And then after that, the people that it puts you in a match with are scaled to your skill level. So even if you suck, which I still to this day suck after playing it for a year, but I get wins solo all the time because there's so many players that it can match you with people in your skill level. So it does that really good. And I will say once you start to get good at it a little bit, like once you like get into the flow, like I'm not like a very big shooter guy in general, it's actually really fun. And then it made me want to try other games like Apex Legends and Call of Duty Warzone. Still suck. I get wrecked in those. I can't do it. But I go back to Fortnite and I can actually do good. And when you do good in a game like that, it's fun.
And it feels
So
good.
like if you have no interest in it, don't play it, like for sure.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, as someone who literally was one of those people who like was so annoyed every time Fortnite is mentioned and just its existence annoyed me. Once I actually gave it a real chance, it's a fun game and I appreciate what it does. And I almost like hate to say that because it goes against everything I used to believe in, but it's true. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So swinging it back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
This happens on podcasts all the
It
time.
does. Yeah. This podcast especially.
I guess there's something special about this game to me. And I don't think I've said that about a Pokemon game in a long time. Where, like Jake, you mentioned, 5 hours in, you had like that sort of Ocarina of Time moment where it's like, okay, I get this. This is different. This has something special going on. Not sure if you enjoy it more than other Pokemon games, but you get it. You get why people would really, really like this game a lot. And for me, it's weird because like I say it's the best Pokemon game of all time, but then I don't like Pokemon games. So then I'm kind of just saying I like this game because it's not a normal Pokemon game. I like it because of all the things it does that's different. And all those different things really are drawing me in. I care about the story. I care about the characters. I've never said that about Pokemon. Even back when I was a kid, I didn't give a shit about the characters. Didn't give a shit about even the individual Pokemon. It's like, okay, yeah, I catch them all. That's the catchphrase. It's cool. I'll get all 150 in the original game. But like, I didn't really care about any of those Pokemon. But now it's like, dude, I get excited. Like I'm in Zone 2. All of a sudden it turns to night. And this is the first time I experienced night in the game, and all of a sudden Ghastly starts popping up, and I'm like, wait a second, the Pokemon change at night? That's a Ghastly? Hell yeah, let's go! Like, I'm having fun. Like, I almost don't even want to ride on the Pokemon it gives you to ride, because like, I don't want to miss anything.
I like how there's so many tasks to complete the Pokedex for each Pokemon too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like just catch it and you're done, because then it would there would be no incentive.
Yeah,
so
and
many,
that is, by the way, that is
things.
something you can do for part of the decks is catch a bunch of the same. But if you guys like, I saw this as a complaint. Someone was saying like, I don't want to sit there and have to catch 25, Bidoofs or whatever. I'm like,
you don't. You only have to do 10.
One, you don't have to catch that many.
What up,
Two,
Camelot?
Yeah, Camelot 331. Yeah, he watches our stuff. He's an awesome dude. Podcast he was on with us was a wild one, buddy.
Yes,
was a wild one.
Oh yeah. No, we're good friends. It's good to see him in here.
It's good. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. So I was looking, wondering what about this game is clicking, and I think it's just it's always what I dreamt Pokemon could be. A game focused on catching, a game focused on collecting, a game focused on the Pokedex. Because the Pokedex to me, while we always had the gotta catch 'em all thing, and then they took it away and they brought it back, it was always one of those, yeah, but also, okay, we have this national dex, gotta catch 'em all. If I grab black and white and I gotta catch 'em all, or like I think X and Y is when they brought the catchphrase back officially, was X and Y. They brought back gotta catch 'em all. And I'm like, okay, but for me to catch 'em all, I gotta go play 5 prior games and catch them all in there, transfer them all. Like, this doesn't feel like gotta catch them all because in order to even participate, you have to be deeply ingrained in every generation and bring in your Pokemon. Or that's why when the national deck stuff happened, I was like, that sounds like a positive to me because gotta catch them all feels like such an impossible. You see 900 plus Pokemon, you're like, "Hey, that's impossible. I'm never gonna catch them all. I'm never gonna take the time to go back and play Gen 1 all the way through today to get all these Pokemon." I know some like I think all the Gen 1 Pokemon have reappeared since anyway, so you don't have to go back that far. But that's besides the point. It's like it felt like an impossible task. Then you get into this game and it says complete the Pokedex. You only have this region to worry about. It is in the past, so the other regions don't even matter right now. And by the way, yeah, catching them's one part, but also you gotta do other things. You can see how they interact
No,
with different
that's what I
fruits.
was saying. There's
And
there's stuff to come. Even like just having to catch multiple ones. You know what I mean? Like because in a regular Pokemon game, you would catch one, and then there's like no incentive to go catch more.
yeah, it's always just run from the battles. Run. Who cares? Or use
Yeah,
repel.
especially
Or use
going through a
repel. You know.
freaking cave and all the
Yeah, unless you're shiny hunting or whatever. But so I think a lot of people feel like you, where this is like the Pokemon game they've dreamed of. For me, I'm always going to want the other ones too. Kind of like how we have 3D Zelda, but then Link's Awakening, got the remake. I want there to always be 3D and 2D Zelda. I want them both. I want Zelda to evolve in the 3D format, but I love those traditional ones, like I'm sure you do too. I want that for Pokemon.
I'll say this.
But I also, the only thing about this one, like my big criticism, and I haven't heard anyone else say this, but this is what it is for me, and it has to do probably more with my personal tastes, is I want a game like Legends Arceus, but I want more cities. I want to go into these other, like not like nature or whatever, like these like populated cities, like what I imagined they were in the original games, like on Game Boy Color. Like not necessarily, they don't have to do like 8 badges and gyms or whatever, but like just like going into this populated city where I get to explore the buildings and there's like crazy stuff like that. I'm just a really big fan of that. I love this too, but I would love it if maybe in the next one it was something more like that.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously in this game, the cities, lore-wise, cities don't make sense in this game. But
Of course. I don't want it for this game.
Yeah. That's what I feel like a lot of people have told me that are like, look, this feels like a good setup for a second game that I actually would enjoy. And I go, that's fine. I like the focus on the Pokedex and the collecting, and a lot of the people that have talked to me that don't agree are basically like, I don't want to, like, yeah, I want to catch them all, but I want to catch them all at the end of the game. I don't want to worry about it now. I just want to bum rush the story. And then there's no multiplayer, so then I end up not caring about end game. And I'm like, well, that's because there is no end game. The credits roll, that's the game. You can go back and do side quests, but like have you ever played any other action adventure RPG? Like there is no post game. Like that's not Breath of the Wild. There's no post game. You just play the world like you were before.
Right.
So and I feel like there is just,
well, there's like the Master Sword quest thing.
Yeah,
but you can do that at any point in Breath of the Wild, I guess.
Yeah,
but it is.
They do have like the challenge. I forget what the name of the area is, where you can go through the different stages, back to back.
That's the Master Sword quest.
Yeah, and that's fine. You don't have to beat the game to do it, but it's
right.
fun.
And
obviously
really
the DLC and everything else, but again, a lot of it is none of it's considered. There's nothing like waiting besides Master Mode. There's nothing waiting in post game content. You could do it all before you even beat the game. So yeah, you might beat the game and then realize, okay, I'm gonna go do all this other stuff, or you could just have fun with the physics and just enjoy the gameplay. And I find a lot of it interesting in this one, just because obviously it's not as like Breath of the Wild is a lot more in depth. but also they've been dabbling in 3D games like this for quite some time. So I feel like they obviously have a lot higher skill set that team does at this. Where this is Game Freak's first try. And I'm kind of willing to give some leeway. Like, okay, it's not visually pleasing, but as I got in the zone too, I kind of stopped caring, and I thought that was really weird. Like that, I'm having so much fun with the gameplay. I'm like, okay, I'm cool. Like I want better visuals next time around. But you know what? If you nail the gameplay, I end up not caring that it's not that visually pretty. Like that's the same thing with like when people say, "Oh, you were complaining about clipping in the Horizon Forbidden West trailers." I'm like, yeah. And as I play the game, if the gameplay is that great, I'm gonna end up not caring that I'm clipping through stuff as much.
I agree. The gameplay is way more important. Yeah. But I guess I've been playing so much next gen or current gen games now that like when I play a new game,
thank you for correcting.
I really look forward to that wow factor, and I miss it. And like the fact that I just recently replayed Pokemon Colosseum and the graphics actually look not as advanced as Colosseum in some ways.
Yeah, that's what people say. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looks great, but then have you seen X?
Yeah.
Wii U, it's like X literally looks better.
But have you seen the regular Xenoblade Chronicles? Because that looks awful.
Yeah, that one looks yeah. So
it's just so muddy.
So yeah, and I hear you on that, Eric. What do you think?
Part of me is thinking with the visual part of this. I mean, I haven't gotten very far into it, so I can't really speak a ton on it. But I think part of me feels that they were more focused on getting this game, to a point where people could play it, people could experience and test out some theories, where they didn't necessarily focus on the visuals as much because they wanted this game as a test run for possible a whole nother line of the series, and maybe future games in this line. They'll now that they got it kind of focused in and kind of gameplay tested type of thing, they'll start bringing the visuals up to speed.
I also need to be fair, and maybe this is something I'm fair about because I when I'm covering Nintendo, I cover a lot of the business side. Like guys, tonight Nintendo's financials drop for the third quarter of their fiscal year. I'm going to be up literally at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. making a video on it because I already know what's coming. I already told Yulia she's not happy about it, but that's it only comes 4 times a year, guys. So we're going to be on top of that here. And because I focus so much on the business end, it makes me go, look, one, Game Freak's never been given time to make a game. This time they were given an extra year over what they usually get to make a game, because they outsourced Brilliant Diamond Shiny Pearl to a different studio. And relative to other games we're talking about, like even Breath of the Wild or Xenoblade, or other games on current gen platforms, there's Ratchet and Clank looks phenomenal. Love Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's a visual treat. Gran Turismo saw it today.
You're a visual treat, Nate.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Try. So. Like, Forza Horizon last year, even Halo Infinite after, they took extra time to clean it up and make it look even better. Like, all these games look amazing, but all of them have had, like, 5+ years development time. They pulled this off in, like, 2.5 years.
That's true. It's a good point.
Like, Game Freak, 1, never made a game like this. 2, never been given time. 3, never been given the budget. And 4, they made this in half the time of all these other big games. So,
yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not knocking them for the graphics. I think it's an amazing game, and I'm very proud of what they did. Like, I love it. I'm just telling you, like, my dream wish.
No, I know. For sure. What hurts it, and this is something I fully admit, and this is what hurts it, and this is because it comes from a studio with much more experience with 3D games. New Pokemon Snap looks phenomenal. And
yeah, but that's on rails. You can't explore.
It's on rails. Yes, it's on rails.
That will always look better. That's like comparing it to like a racing game. Racing games always look good because you don't ever have to interact with the textures. You stay on a track.
Sure, but you do interact in New Pokemon Snap. That's the thing. You can interact with the Pokemon. You can't get out and walk up to them, but you can cause them to
well, you interact with it in racing games too, but it's the same. You get an unfair advantage when it's on rails.
Sure. I fully get you. What I'm also saying, though, is that game obviously looks really great, and it's made by Bandai Namco. And Bandai Namco has quite a few really nice-looking games. They
for sure.
have a lot more experience than Game Freak. Game Freak's been making games for handhelds this entire time. A lot of the spin-offs have always been handled by other studios. So it's really interesting to see that I'm trying. Basically, there's like this mental thing where I'm like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that I'm just happy the Pokemon Company let you make this game, because the Pokemon Company usually isn't going to. They're the reason you don't get time to make things. So I can't get mad at you that, okay, Breath of the Wild visuals are amazing. Yeah, and you know what? They spent 2.5, 3 years building the literal engine before they even worried about anything else.
That's a good point.
You didn't get that much time to do that. You had to do the engine and the world building and the visuals and everything all in one. And for all I know, I don't. People have probably already figured it out by now. Maybe
sales of the game, like this is so good because the game is selling well. The reviews for like the majority of them are overwhelmingly
it's one of the highest
positive.
rated mainline Pokemon games.
It's going to give them incentive to keep this direction, keep trying new stuff, and that's what we all want. So it's just like a win-win-win. They're getting tons of money. The fans are getting the things they want. Like if this game, I just hope Game Freak is given stuck with regular Pokemon forever. You know what I mean? It's like everyone was saying, buy Metroid Dread, so they'll make more Metroid games. People weren't even saying like buy Pokemon Arceus. People were like skeptical, but it's like killing it, and it's just like that makes me really happy.
Do you know how much the early sales data is killing it right now?
It's the 4th highest selling Pokemon game, right?
In the UK, it is. Yes,
in the UK, right?
In the UK, because that's the only place. Tomorrow we get numbers for Japan for launch. Right now we don't have official numbers anywhere. Although
everyone that's ahead of it had multiple releases.
Yeah.
And there's the crazy people like me that buy both.
And by the way, there's no saying that Nintendo won't mention launch sales tonight, because sometimes they do that on a brand new game, even though it's not part of the current fiscal report. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, and by the way, we just launched this, and here's phenomenal launch numbers. So Nintendo could even give us that tonight. But here's what we do know, and this is just the UK. But usually, what happens in the UK can be extrapolated to the rest of the West, because their taste in games tends to be very similar to like the United States and other territories. Japan's a totally different story. They have their own taste. Nintendo dominates. It is, we'll see what the sales are like there. I'm sure they're crazy high. What's interesting is not only the 4th best selling Pokemon game, it's the 5th best selling boxed title. So it sold the most physical copies of like literally the last 20 years in the UK,
which is insane considering the digital age we're living in.
Yes, and listen, this isn't counting digital sales. In boxed sales alone, it has outsold the launch.
I bought 2 box copies
of Animal
Crossing. There wasn't 2 versions this time, so I just bought 2.
And I don't think there was a whole lot of like nothing like Breath of the Wild where you got like a whole bunch of extra stuff if you purchased a physical copy of it.
No.
So maybe
there were some places giving posters or something.
Yeah, but it's not like Breath of the Wild where you got.
What I'm trying to say is it outsold the launch of Animal Crossing.
This one is open. This one will stay sealed.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. So it outsold the launch of Animal Crossing in the UK. Animal Crossing is the second best-selling game on Switch. It's the second best-selling game on Switch. We're about to find out Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has passed 40 mil. I guarantee we're about to find that out. But Animal Crossing's, right up there, 35, 36 mil. And to consider that in a major territory, this outsold that at launch. Now, it might not have the same long tail of sales. We'll see. But, like, to imagine that we are looking at a game that could sell as well as Sword and Shield as a single copy. Maybe even better. We don't know. We'll find out. And it's Pokemon. Pokemon always sells well. I already said it's guaranteed over 10. Question is it going to be that mega hit that goes over 20? Because Pokemon struggles to do that. They literally, Sword and Shield, best-selling game since Gen 1. They've really struggled to recapture that 30 mil sales that Gen 1 pulled off. And Sword and Shield seem to have done that. And then all of a sudden, you go in a completely different direction. It's like, oh, we just got close, but now, hey, completely different direction. But I think, and I said this at the time, I think Sword and Shield exists because Breath of the Wild happened. Because it took a full departure from what Zelda is. Hey, well, you like traditional dungeons? And we'll give you some little half-assed versions, but you're not really getting full-scale 9+ dungeon masterpieces. Like, no, we're gonna do these little shrines. A lot of them feel the same. We're gonna give you, we're gonna focus on the exploration aspect and give you a story. You got to discover through memories. It's not spoon-fed to you, and you're just gonna have to figure it out. And they went such a departure from what I mean. This is what Zelda used to be back on Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, but they haven't really done that in a long time. So they did that, and they said, "Oh, this went on to then sell 3x the amount that Zelda's ever sold." We've never seen this before, and I think Pokemon Company watched that and they go, "What if we let our team depart from what Pokemon's always been and tell them you make the games you want to make and see what it does?" No, I don't. By the way, I don't know if this game's gonna sell 30 million. That's a really big projection to make for any game. Oh, it'll sell 30 million. I have no idea.
There's only 2 games that have sold that for the Switch, right?
Yeah.
Just Mario Kart
Only
and
2.
Animal Crossing.
Yep, just those 2. It's possible, if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't kill Breath of the Wild sales, that it could get there because it's been selling 2 to 3 a year. So if it does that for the next 2 years, it would pass. But I presume once Breath of the Wild 2 is out, the original game might not sell as well, or maybe it'll sell even more because people will feel like they got to play the first one to play the second. I don't know how people are gonna do that. So we'll see on that front. I know Mario Odyssey sales are basically flat right now. So that one's not going to see much more increase. I think that fan base is definitely ready for another Mario Odyssey 2 or some other big Mario game to come out. They were just kind of waiting around. So yeah, I think, I don't know where this thing's going to end up sales wise, but the initial numbers we got, when you hear 4th best Pokemon launch ever, 5th best boxed, just physical launch, like pretty much ever at this point in the UK, at least in the last 20 years. And it outsold Animal Crossing, one of the most popular games on Switch.
That's crazy.
Makes you wonder. Sword and Shield.
And Animal Crossing was kind of not like artificially boosted, but I mean it was definitely very much boosted because of
pandemic.
Because of the timing.
Yeah, very. I mean, it was always going to sell well because New Leaf sold really well, but nobody saw 30 million.
Yeah.
People were like, "It'll sell 15 to 20, sure." That's New Leaf numbers. No, 30.
And it sold double that.
Yeah. So it's like,
this is insane.
So we'll see. But the initial numbers are great. Again, we find out Japan numbers tomorrow. We won't find out official US figures until next month. Or I guess later this month. Later this month we'll see launch numbers anyways. Around the 15th to 16th, we'll see launch numbers. Now again, Nintendo might actually report the launch number, especially if it's record breaking. Nintendo likes to taunt record breaking things at their financial reports. So even though
aren't they revealing a bunch of numbers tomorrow for like Metroid Dread sales and stuff?
That's actually tonight at 1 a.m.
Oh.
Well, technically tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's like happening tonight. That's what I said. Like I'm gonna be up late tonight making a video because it's happening tonight.
Right.
Because time zone differences. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get Metroid Dread sales and find out if it became the best selling Metroid of all time. We'll find out there. We're about to find out a lot. How well Mario Party Superstars did. How well.
Do you think
Switch
they might
sold.
throw in some worldwide Arceus sales in it?
Yeah,
How likely do you think that would be?
that's what I'm. Because every now and then they do that.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, it all depends because the Pokemon Company usually gets to decide what's going to happen. And Nintendo, I think it's one of those, if it's impressive, I think Nintendo's going to mention it. Because they'll be like, look, this was last quarter, and look at our start for this quarter. Like, we already have this massive launch. These are the launch weekend numbers. Like, there's no reason for you guys, investors, to doubt what we're doing right now. Because look at the momentum we already have. Because that's a big thing. Usually there's a big drop off after the holidays. If Nintendo can go, yeah, but we had Pokemon and we were not dropping off. Just so you're aware, not dropping off.
Right.
Shintaro Furukawa recently came out and said, we don't think we can make enough units to start the year anyways. And you go, what do you mean you can't make enough units? Usually sales drop off. And it's like, you know what we have launching? We have a Pokemon game coming. That's going to make it pretty hard to keep it switching.
Kirby.
Yeah, then Kirby. Yeah, we have Kirby and
right.
Project Triangle Strategy hitting 2 different crowds in March. And then, God knows, Splatoon 3 is probably quickly after that. So, like, it's...
Advance Wars in April. It's
Advance Wars 1, 1+2 Reboot Camp, which, again, I don't know that that's going to be a system seller, but I think it's going to sell well.
Right.
So, like, it's
an exclusive.
Again, Splatoon 3, the Skywalker Saga is coming out, and a lot of people are going to want to get that on Switch. So, like, there's just
Sparks
a lot.
of Hope somewhere.
Sparks of Hope somewhere, supposedly this year.
What was the last one you just said?
Sparks of Hope? Or the...
Oh,
Mario plus Rabbids.
yeah, sorry. I heard that might get delayed.
Yeah, there was a rumor out there that it's been delayed, but nothing's been announced yet, so we'll see. Breath of the Wild 2 is supposed to drop it somewhere. So, like, Nintendo's got all these big games, which, by the way, Sony's got a lot of big ones lined up. Microsoft's got a lot of big ones. Like, this is a huge year in gaming. Like, I wish Sony and Nintendo had a Game Pass like service just to save me some money.
Right.
And then on top of that,
And Nintendo would find a way to screw that
on
up.
top of that, hey guys, we're getting MLB The Show on Switch. Insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
Insane that we're getting MLB The Show on Switch. But I want to talk about that for a moment, actually. So we'll get off the Pokemon talk and just briefly talk about, this is kind of a bonus topic that I briefly wanted to touch on, was the MLB The Show thing. Not because I think a lot of people are going to really care. If you're not a baseball fan, you're not going to care about this.
I actually play that game more than you would ever believe. I simulate like hundreds of years into the future. Like 20 years in, all the actual players are retired and it's all made up names. That's how obsessed I am with that game. So it came on Switch out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And because I simulate so much and I don't play, like I used to always play it on Vita and PSP. So the fact that I can do that on handheld now, I am so hyped.
Yeah. And so here's the thing with this game. There's a couple things about it. One, it has full crossplay with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, which I was shocked, but it also tells me performance-wise, at least from a frame rate perspective, it's got to be basically the same across all platforms because it would give a gameplay advantage to other platforms otherwise. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same visually. It'll be different. It'll be downgraded visuals. It's not going to be
for sure
resolution downgrades and all that because the show's a nice looking game, so it's not going to look as good. But I guess they have obviously the gameplay performance is good enough to do crossplay, and that's fine.
I don't even
so
care.
that's good news for Switch owners.
When I play that game, it's literally all menus.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But one thing I wanted to know, because some people wonder, well, why do they even care about bringing it to Switch? Like, okay, Xbox understood, Microsoft fat check, Game Pass, Game Pass again day one this year. So like, why bring it to Switch? Well, here's an interesting thing. Ohtani's on the cover. He is a Japanese baseball player. Nintendo Switch is the only platform that pretty much matters in Japan at the moment. He's extremely popular in Japan. He's literally, like, you guys might think, like, I don't know, LeBron James, Tom Brady, who just retired. Like, so think some of the most popular athletes we have in the United States. Ohtani is like their megastar. Like they basically, like, he can't even, like,
he's their LeBron. Yeah.
He can't even make it down the block there. He's that recognized in Japan. He's so huge.
I mean, he's
on
that
the cover
big here now too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He plays
he's
Los
on the
Angeles.
cover. MLB wants to make
He won
progress.
the MVP this year.
Yeah, yeah. Like, he's on the cover. MLB wants to make progress in Japan. Switch is where you got to be if you want to do that. It makes so much sense that this is the year you bring Show over because it could end up selling massive in Japan. And so it's such a smart move. And it's cool
point.
because
I didn't
obviously
even think about that. The only thing I'm a bigger than a Pokemon nerd is a baseball nerd. And I didn't even think about that, man. That's a great point.
Yeah. No,
so like, I think that's probably why they're doing it. And obviously it's just nice for us to have. It's funny because, like, the common talk is, well, now we're getting further and further into current gen, that Switch is going to get less and less games. And then it's like, oh, by the way, we're getting a really popular game made by Sony on Switch. Like, I thought we were supposed to get less games. I made a joke about it on Twitter. I retweeted when it was announced. Like, so Switch was supposed to get less third-party games, right? Well, I mean, it's going to happen, but I just thought it was kind of funny. And then I started thinking about it, and that's when it clicked. I'm like, all right, I get why they're doing this. It makes a lot of sense. I'm obviously happy for it. We get NBA 2K every year. Now we get this. All we need is Madden to really complete the American trifecta of the bigger sports.
And an actual version of Madden.
A current version.
EA is so weird about it, though. But I mean, when you think about it, if you're smart as a company, you would do whatever it takes to get a version of your game on Switch.
Yeah.
Like, with the amount, especially now that, like, the next gen consoles have come out, the Switch is the only console with, like, that's the newest from a company that has an install base of 100 million plus. No one else is even close. You could argue, like, PlayStation has 100 million plus when you combined.
Yeah,
like,
what they say in the recent report, we have 111 million active play. I'm like, yeah, you're counting your PlayStation 4 user base. Okay.
But still, you could, like even if you just include all that with PlayStation, you could double that by putting your game on Switch. Like, and even if it's not as popular on Switch as it is on PlayStation,
I have a theory.
You're still going to be killing it. Like, it's got to make sense financially.
So, like, do you remember the unprecedented partnership that was announced between Nintendo and EA for Wii U back in the day? They had this
Oh, yeah.
unprecedented partnership.
I feel
And
like
then something happened.
okay, EA got burned, but like, are you dumb? Did you not see the difference between the Switch and the Wii U at
Well,
this
yeah, that's what I'm
point?
saying. Like something happened, and I think it really soured. Like, okay, EA delivered the games they promised, but they didn't really go all out. And then they abandoned the platform really quick because they thought the platform was going to be something it wasn't. I guess Nintendo overpromised and underdelivered. I have no idea. Wasn't there behind the scenes. It's all speculation. But I feel like they got so soured on that they're like, yeah, we're done with Nintendo. We don't need Nintendo. Look how good we are without Nintendo. And it's like, that's fine. But also, at some point, Square Enix is already going pretty deep into Switch now. They're trying to give support. A lot of companies are kind of getting late to the party. Atlas, starting to get a lot of Atlas games on Switch. Companies are getting late to the party, but even they
They're
are
coming.
realizing, why are we not on Switch? EA, you want your games to sell in Japan? Why the hell aren't you on Switch?
Yeah.
How do we not have The Sims on Switch yet? Sims 4 has been out forever. Why do we not have that on Switch? It makes no sense. It's the perfect platform for it.
Yeah.
If Animal Crossing's
Yeah.
blowing up, imagine what Sims 4 could have done on Switch during the pandemic.
So what you're saying,
Like-
though, is we need
I almost feel like maybe Nintendo doesn't want Sims on Switch because of Animal Crossing. Like the same way that they won't make another F-Zero game because they want all the focus to be on Mario Kart.
I don't know.
Sims
That
is almost like too popular.
I don't know.
You
that
know,
they
and I
care.
don't think Sims was ever on like Wii U or anything either. I don't know.
They've had Sims
Maybe
on Nintendo
EA's
platforms
mad about
before.
that. I don't know.
They've had Sims on Nintendo platforms before. I don't think Nintendo cares because all these third-party games, none of them touch Nintendo's sales. So I don't know that Nintendo cares as much about third parties. And this kind of actually leads really
Would
nicely.
Animal Crossing have sold 30 million units if a month before that The Sims 4 came out on Switch?
Oh yeah, because Nintendo would have been promoting Animal Crossing the whole time. You wouldn't have even heard of Sims unless EA said something. And Nintendo
Yeah.
fans don't pay attention to what EA's tweeting out.
So what we gotta do is
Nintendo fans are very loyal, and Nintendo would not have been promoting Sims at the same time Animal Crossing was coming. I just know Nintendo wouldn't have done that. I don't think they would have came out at the same time, by the way. I think Sims should have been there back in 2017, to be honest, or 2018. But
Oh, I just want to. A couple people asked in the chat. I just want to. I want to keep the focus of the podcast where it is. But, guys, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I don't know if Target's restocking tomorrow, but I will tweet out by 7 a.m. Eastern if they are. So there's a small chance. I know some stores have over 30 consoles in stock. It's possible they drop tomorrow or Friday. I just recommend having my Twitter notifications on and getting up early. And I'm not going to address it again. So, but I want to respectfully address the people.
no,
that were asking.
that's
you're
totally
good.
that's the thing about live shows. Yep,
Yeah, no,
that's
for
totally
sure.
fine. Did you have something you wanted to add?
no. So basically, what we're saying is we need a gigantic Japanese NFL player in order to get mad.
In order to get mad, even then, I don't think EA just they got something against it. I don't know what it is. Even Activision threw us a bone and gave, and at least they didn't give us Call of Duty, but at least they gave us like Crash and Spyro. Like we got games that I guess you could argue make sense, but we didn't obviously get the game. And it's like, you know that your Call of Duty game actually did all right on Wii U, considering Wii U tanked, right? Like this is like one of the most popular platforms in the world. Call of Duty.
I still like playing Call of Duty on the original Wii. I forget which one it is, but I have like one of those, like the thing
the
where
light
you put
guns?
the Wiimote in, and it's like a
light
gun,
gun accessory.
and you have like the
Yes,
motion
yes.
controls.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
Oh, I
House
love
of the
it.
Dead on Wii also is amazing.
So this is a good transition because we're talking about games on Switch, and
So I keep going out of frame. My bad.
the industry is in a really interesting spot right now. Yeah. Sony is trying to buy Bungie right now for $3.6 billion. Obviously, publicly, all the right words are being said that make people not get too upset. Oh, we're going to be independent. We're still going to have our own board, our own CEO.
Bye, Wade. Love you, Wade. Sorry, I just had to say that.
You're good.
So, like, you're going to buy, Bungie, and Bungie's saying all the right things. We're going to be our own company. We're still going to be third party. We're still going to do what we want, basically have our own board. Which, to be clear on this deal, guys, I think that's going to be true in the immediate. I don't know that 5 years from now that's still going to be the same tale. Sony Interactive Entertainment is going to be wholly own the studio. So they might have their own board, but they don't have their own investors. It's Sony. They have to answer to Sony. They have to do what Sony tells them to do. So right now, they're going to keep it that way. Destiny 2 is on everything besides Switch. And it's going to They're not going to drop support, and they're going to do what they can. But what would you even know what the next game is they have coming? Because they don't make that many games.
I don't think they know. I
don't know if they know either.
I think that all of them is just support it on Destiny, making Destiny better. Their newest game is launching in a couple weeks, and it's another expansion for Destiny.
Yeah.
So I think that's all they've been working on. But I think obviously with Sony buying them,
there's something.
There's going to be a new project coming together as soon as the deal is finalized.
Yeah,
and I think Sony has
I guarantee guys that it's going to be basically a Sony platform exclusive, even if they're saying all the right things right now. Mm-hmm. Give it time. Microsoft's trying to say all the right things too. Oh, we're not going to remove Activision Blizzard games and blah, blah, blah. And it sounds like, oh, maybe the next 3 Call of Duties will still be on PlayStation. But okay, that's nice. That's because those 3 Call of Duties are already being made.
Right.
What about the ones that aren't being made yet? So you see, you
don't spend $70 billion and
this is what I said like about the Bungie deal. Sony's not buying Bungie for $3.6 billion, which is a lot of money for them. You might go, that doesn't sound that much. Well, one, they only have a market cap of $140 billion. Their gaming sector of their company is only worth about $14 billion, which you think about that, that's really not that much when Nintendo's worth $58 billion, but Sony keeps selling 100 million units every generation. One thing to remember, though, guys, is that Nintendo, until this gen, has always had handheld as well as home console, and they've always sold their systems, for the most part. 3DS for a little bit, they sold it at a loss. They've sold them at a profit, whereas Sony has traditionally taken a loss on unit sales, try to make up for it on software. Nintendo software is obviously always sold incredible, so Nintendo has just been better business-wise making money in the gaming industry than Sony. However, Sony went ahead and bought $3.6 billion on that, and that's a huge purchase for Sony. They don't spend that kind of money on companies very often. They didn't spend $3.6 billion to make no changes.
Yeah.
Right.
If there's no benefit to the purchase to Sony, then you don't make the purchase.
No, exactly. And there's 2 things I actually want to say. One is people thinking that like Microsoft won't make COD exclusive at some point. Microsoft has already shown their whole strategy. They've been showing it to us for years. And they showed it to us with Bethesda, which is they honored all current contracts. They made Deathloop PS5 exclusive, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they're making Elder Scrolls Microsoft exclusives. Yep. And why would they change their strategy that they're currently doing? So it's like for Microsoft, I don't think it's really even a debate. I think it's obvious. I think they've shown us, and they're just going to keep that up. And it's smart. And it's smart the way they're handling it, where it's like, oh, we're honoring all our existing contracts, whatever, because it makes them look good.
Yeah.
Because
but guys, Switch is still going to get Overwatch 2. We're still going to get it. It's already been announced. Right. It's already been committed. We're going to get Overwatch 2.
And I think Microsoft, well, it is kind of shady to be like, yeah, no, you're still going to get them all when they know in their head that
they know the 5-6 year plan. It's not going to be that way.
Yeah, but it's so smart of them to be like that because Sony's never like that. How many PlayStation exclusive games besides MLB The Show, which is because of the license, how many of those are on Nintendo or Microsoft platforms? How many God of Wars? None, but Microsoft puts Minecraft out because they own that now. They've done a lot of stuff with Nintendo, like Ori, like Cuphead, and Microsoft's the only one that's really doing it. If anything, you should be afraid of Sony buying Bungie more than Microsoft buying other companies.
Oh yeah, I don't think whatever Bungie makes next game, like a brand new game wise, I don't think it's anywhere but PlayStation. I mean, it'll hit PC like 5 years later, but I mean,
great.
That's what Sony's been doing with all their exclusives lately. Oh, we'll send it to PC.
The other thing I wanted to say, which someone said, it might have been you, because I watch you a lot, but someone said, PlayStation buying Bungie for $3.6 billion. What a steal was Insomniac. $240 million, and they are carrying. They got Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, and then they're gonna have Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine.
To put that in perspective, guys, it's less
those
money
$1
than
billion
Nintendo
acquisitions, and they got Insomniac for $240 million.
Yeah,
that's crazy. What value?
And that's cheaper, guys, than Nintendo bought Monolith Software. Nintendo, when they bought Monolith Soft in 2007, was about $300 million. And Monolith Soft's been incredibly important. So they've definitely gotten their money's worth out of it. They helped on Legends Arceus a smidge, not enough to be in the credits, but a smidge. They helped on, obviously, Breath of the Wild. They've helped on a number of Nintendo games, plus the Xenoblade series, plus some new IP. They're incredibly important. But Insomniac was bought for less, and look at what what a steal. I mean, the biggest steal, I can argue the biggest steal. If you want to talk about quality video games, not necessarily big sales. The biggest steal is that Nintendo bought Retro Studios for $1 million. That was nothing. But they were also like a nobody. They were like kind of a nobody company back then. The games they had released had never sold well, and then they handed them Metroid, and then obviously things went okay from there. So that might have been the biggest steal. But now Retro Studios struggles to get a game out.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's just like Insomniac was very recent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and I mean Naughty Dog, they own them now wholly. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
but then again, they also had huge numbers. I mean, it was just like, it makes too much sense. You're making games already exclusive contracts for us that are doing big numbers. Why the heck won't we buy? It's kind of like with Next Level Games. Nintendo bought Next Level Games. Luigi's Mansion 3. Look how well it's selling. Why would we not just buy you? Like, this makes no sense.
What a beautiful game too, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh yeah,
it is. Just all around. I mean,
what's it called? You got to just satisfy my ADD for 2 seconds, guys, because I've wanted to ask you this. And I'm going to forget. And then we'll go right back to this. How do you guys feel about K-pop? And do you ever watch K-dramas?
K-pop! Do you ever watch what? Sorry,
K-dramas,
you said K-pop.
Korean dramas?
Drama. Oh. No.
Okay. It's not for you. I get it. All right. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, are you really into it?
I've been getting into it. I think K-dramas are elite. And there's so many on Netflix. My only thing is, every episode is like an hour and 20 minutes for like every series. It's just how they do things there.
Yeah.
And obviously I have to have subtitles on. And by the end of the episode, I'm so tired from reading. I can only do one at a time. But the production quality is so high. It's just like they're like movies. They're actually really well made. Anyways, sorry.
You're okay. Yeah. It's okay to ask that kind of stuff. I've never attempted to watch, so there might be something I might enjoy. It's one of those.
Okay.
It's like I usually don't like, as an example, I don't like foreign shows or foreign films because I either don't like the way I don't like reading text. Like, it just ruins. If I wanted to do that, I'd read a book. And then I also, a lot of times dubs are just really bad. So
wait, I have to acknowledge Sarah in the chat. Sarah, I brought up K-pop and K-drama to raise awareness for you. It's not a personal attack. It was for you. It was a gesture of love.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Spreading the love. So yeah, a lot of people have been wondering. I made a joke video on this that really pissed some people off about Nintendo buying Capcom.
Yeah, you clickbaity bastard.
Yeah, I'm the worst clickbaiting bastard in the. I thought mentioning $5.2 billion would be a dead giveaway because Nintendo, guys, doesn't have the sort of money these other companies do to just.
Dude, you got me with that. I saw you tweet that out. I was like, oh my God. And I immediately, before clicking on the video, I clicked on the replies. And you had replied to it being like, guys, I'm kidding. And I was like, honestly, like, that's a really good like title and thumb. Like, that's a good video.
You know
like,
what sucks too?
I was all for it.
Right after, like today, this morning, suddenly there are those rumors floating out there that Capcom is about to be bought out. That's one of the companies that Jeff Keighley mentioned might be getting bought out soon. And I'm like, oh, great. It won't be Nintendo. It's going to be like Microsoft finally getting into Japan. Now we're never going to get Monster Hunter on Switch again. Oh, shit. Because that Nintendo ain't buying them, guys. Nintendo does have enough cash on hand to make a $5.2 billion purchase. Nintendo never spends that kind of money on anything. Nintendo is very self-invested. They are very much, we don't need to do these other companies are doing, because look at the amazing slate of games we already have. We don't need other companies to boost us up. We don't need to buy Monster Hunter and buy Capcom. We don't need to buy, like, Nintendo is very much, we bet on ourselves. Everyone else can buy and fight over the fight. Fight the good fight.
Yeah.
So Eric.
Yeah.
This is my Monster Hunter plush.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm glad you think so, because I pre-ordered it 6 months ago when, like, or longer than that, when Rise came out, because I was so hype. And then I meant to cancel it. I pre-ordered a bunch of them, and I canceled them all because I was like, why do I do this? And I forgot this one. So it just showed up, and I was like, oh, I got charged. But it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but that is actually
it looks pretty badass. So what are your guys' general thoughts on all these acquisitions? Because there's more coming. Sony's Jim Ryan said that they have more coming. Jeff Keighley said there's more coming. So what do you guys think's happening? Because, like, to me, as someone, I'm a Nintendo guy. and really we're not that adversely affected yet. Now if a Capcom purchase goes down, that will
Thanks, Charles.
that will adversely affect any Japanese, like Square gets bought, like that would adversely affect Nintendo. I look at this and I'm wondering what you guys think, because to me it feels like we're in a real world version of video game Game of Thrones. Everyone's just claiming territory.
Yeah.
I kind of see what you mean. Yeah.
And seeing who's going to come out on top.
I kind of want to like buy stock in like Konami and Capcom
right before they get bought out.
Yeah, because Activision like blew up. All the shareholders got paid out like crazy.
Yes. Yeah, they agreed to some share price that was like $25 ahead of what the shares were actually worth. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
that's insane. So like, what do you guys think about like this? I don't know, as I call it, the Game of Thrones of gaming. I actually, besides that Capcom joke video I made where I did like a 4-minute skit where I pretended I was the mediator trying to buy Capcom for Nintendo. I had another idea of like, because it reminds me of another game. It reminds me of Risk, where you're trying to take over the world. And I was gonna do a joke in a video on the next acquisition where each part of the world, instead of it being like Asia and like UK, it's gonna be like, no, Nintendo. This is Sony, this is Nintendo. Well, right, Nintendo now owns Japan, but Sony's got this little territory over here in the US. Right, so Microsoft owns this, and like here's Ubisoft in Europe, and here's this and that, and like whose armies are coming to invade, and who's gonna take over what. Right. And it makes me just go like, what do you guys think is happening in this industry right now? And does it bother you? Because I think a lot of gamers view this mostly as a negative. Besides people that are like, oh my god, I'm a Sony fan and they bought Bungie. I'm a Microsoft fan and they bought, like, I'm so excited. But I mean, you're just going to get the games you were already getting.
Wait, while you're asking those guys, I'm going to be back in like 2 seconds. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, you do what you got to do.
You're good.
Okay, it's the whole bottle of water. That's
no, you're good. You're good.
Eric, what are you thinking?
I know the first thing I said to you when I saw that Sony was going to purchase Bungie, I know it was like, it feels like the whole world is now going to be owned between Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Like the gaming world, and that's it. That's what it's kind of feeling like right now. And you're like, I mean, I was completely being hyperbolic, but I know you're like, dude, you do realize there's a whole lot of gaming companies out there. I'm like, yes, I do realize that, but it feels like right now, the gaming world is literally Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. And
the funny thing is, Tencent's bigger than all of them.
No,
gaming wise,
right? But
people don't like them either.
Well, yeah, but the biggest thing that worries me about all these purchases is it almost if it does come down to a lot of like these 3 companies, or it gets like so big and they have so many underneath them that it almost turns into like how Charter is, or how our utilities are handled, where you get almost a one choice in your area, and that's kind of it, because that's what you have. I mean, it feels like it's going to be, you get your games that you want are only going to be on this console or this console or this console. I don't know. It just feels like it's. I don't know. It feels like everything's going to be now more kind of exclusive-ish, I think.
And that's a problem?
Yeah, for my pocketbook. If I want to play games. I mean, it. I don't know.
So the reason I mentioned, I said that is because right now the primary reason to buy any specific platform is...
All right, I'm back and I have more tea, so we're good.
So like you buy a Switch primarily for the games Nintendo's giving you, the exclusives. You buy PlayStation for the exclusives. You buy Microsoft, maybe not for the exclusives right now because they don't have a ton. Maybe Halo is a big seller for you, and they bring their games to PC anyways. But Game Pass, great value. That's Microsoft's proposition at the moment is, hey, come to us. You don't have to spend $70 a pop like on PlayStation or $60 a pop on Switch. Just spend $180 a year and you get plenty of games to make up the value of this, assuming that you actually want to play these games. So I hear what you're saying, but also it almost simplifies it, because multi-platform games are multi-platform. Like Call of Duty's on everything. Okay, well now Call of Duty might only ever be on Microsoft. Okay, well if I really care that much about Call of Duty, then I guess I'll get an Xbox. Like we're already so singular platform. Like a lot of consumers, I lucky space here. We have access to all of us have access to multiple systems to play games on. So like, it's weird to talk about these like Sony buying this or Microsoft buying this or if Nintendo buys whatever. Like because it's not going to affect me. I can just play it on whatever. It doesn't. Me personally, I'm not affected. So I try to think of, forget about me today. Grown adult, grown ass money, buy everything. I'm a YouTuber. Cool. I'm rocking a $2,500 monitor for my PC. That's insane. Okay.
Nice flex. Nice flex. Bro.
I'm a big boy that likes to have my toys.
Same.
But like, hey, you were flexing with the 80 inch and 70 inch and 40 inch, and I'm just like, I'd take. I mean,
LG sent me that 80-inch TV.
Oh, you see, there's a flex. You want to talk about? I had to spend my own money on that monitor. You want to talk about a flex? Get that LG connection going. I'll take an 80-inch over here. I'm building a new set. Right, I need a TV for it.
Yeah, honestly, to be like genuinely honest with you, if you apparently they're really good about that kind of stuff. The way they didn't reach out to me or anything, I cold emailed them. And I was like, I'm reviewing TVs, and I think the LG C1 OLED's the best. Was wondering if you wanted to send me a review thing. If not, it's whatever. I'm still going to make the video, whatever. And they were like, yeah, no, we'll send you one. Well, and this was when I was around your size on YouTube. As well,
alrighty then. I want an 80-inch OLED right now. Yeah, it'll literally appear in every video I do.
You go to their website and you go to like contacts or contact us. There's like different categories. You can figure out the right one, but just like send a couple cold emails and just like.
Well, I mean, it'll probably be.
And be like, if you're like interested in the monitor or a TV, just let them know. It's who knows.
Hey, look at that, giving me the advice that LG might just be willing to be like, you can just have one. It's cool. Yeah, do your video. Gotcha.
Yeah, they honestly really are nice. Like I was in the hospital, for a couple weeks after. Like I reached out to them initially and was like, I'm so sorry. Like I'm not gonna be able to make the video. I'm in the hospital. And the day I got home from the hospital, they had sent me like all of these cakes and pastries from this really nice place in New York City.
Oh,
wow! And it was just like at my doorstep. Like, and like after that, I was like, all right, you guys are good people. They won me over.
That's a good company there.
That is a good.
That they they don't have to do that. They could be angry that you're not going to do the video and they sent you this thing. And
yeah,
they're not angry about it at all.
Too. That's the best. It's the best TV I've ever owned for sure.
I'm definitely gonna have to reach out to them then, because I always never know who to reach out to because so many companies just ignore you.
Neither do I. Like, so I just like the only sponsors I'm interested in are ones where I was gonna make a video anyway.
Anyways, yeah.
Where the product had already won me over. So that's how I do it. Where like.
And I'm actually shopping for a TV right now, so it's kind of like I was already considering some LG options.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, so like the way I do it is I get tons of offers all the time for sponsorships, but I don't ignore those. I only take sponsorships where I reach out to them because their product won me over. And then I will tell you, like 90% of the time, I don't even get a response or whatever. But like the sponsorships that I have, those are the 10% where it's like. Okay, yeah, no, we support you too, and it's like great. That's a mutual thing, and it's genuine, because I don't want to shill anything, because then you just lose yourself, and I don't know. It's just not me. But when it's genuine like that, it's a win-win.
I'll have to reach out to them and see what they say because I have a unique use case that OLEDs happen to look very good on camera.
They do,
and I want it for the background of a set, and I think it would show really well. And it'd be really cool if when I'm doing game streams, if I have it co-streamed behind me while I'm playing.
Well, they announced at CES the new model is coming out for 2022, which is the LG OLED C2. The C1 was last year. Now the C2 is going to have a few more features. So that would be the one.
That would be the one to be like, hey.
I would inquire about. Yeah.
I'll have to reach out to him.
It'll be front and center in our sets.
It'll. Yeah, one of the sets for sure. It'll literally be like the back.
Oh yeah, you could tell them because your daily videos, you have the monitor behind you. If you
and when we rebuild the set, like my daily videos, this is just in the corner. But when we're just about to remodel, it's not going to be like in the corner. You'll clearly see it, like right. It'll be right in the right position. and everything to be seen. Because I might even, if it looks as good, if the OLED looks as good on camera as it did when I was testing it, and I took my camera to Best Buy to point it at some OLED TVs and see what it looks like.
Yeah. No, if you end up like doing anything or whatever with them, like they get back to you, let me know. We'll geek out about it. I can give you some pointers or whatever of stuff to talk about.
Definitely got to shoot them before the end of the week.
I know.
I'm gonna be so nervous now that I know they might respond. Yeah. Usually I don't care because I know they're not going to respond.
They will 100% get back to you, even if they don't do it this time. Like you'll work with them at some point for sure.
See, I like that when they at least tell you. It's like, hey, at least you took the time to check your email. I'm sure you get a billion requests, and thanks for saying no, but it's cool. All right, so I never got your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this whole like war going on where everything's being consumed? Like Eric's thoughts, where he kind of feels like it's becoming like internet providers, where you're gonna have less and less options. You're going to be forced to go with one system or another, and then you might get disappointed because some exclusives end up on another platform that, that's why some Sony fans are upset about Activision Blizzard because, you bought a PlayStation 5 thinking you were going to get all the Call of Duty games forever, and now you're not. And obviously as Nintendo fans, it hasn't affected us as much yet just because Nintendo is not as reliant on these third-party companies, but if Capcom gets bought, that does affect Nintendo. So what are your thoughts on all of this? Because my thoughts are, I'm having a really hard time separating my privilege from the rest of the world. And I hate saying that, guys. You guys know I'm open and honest about this. I am privileged to play on everything.
Right.
So it doesn't seem to impact me. But that is a privilege that I didn't have 10 years ago. And I was in my mid-20s. So I probably would have been really pissed about this 10 years ago. So what are your thoughts on it?
So my thoughts, there's like good and bad with it, right?
So I gotta stop you for 1 second. Eric always does this thing when he wants me to get him a drink from the fridge because I sit right by the mini fridge and he's doing like this thing like this, and it always to me looks like he's popping a grenade and dropping a bomb, baby. All right, go on. Sorry. I was just laughing. I'm like,
can we make Eric sing with the auto tune? I would love that.
No, God, no. Oh God, no.
I think we are. Eric.
No, God, no.
Eric. The request is there.
Oh God, no.
I don't think Jake will hear it, but the crowd will. Let's go. Get singing. It's on, Eric.
Oh, Canada. I don't know why I picked this song.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think Jake could hear it because I don't have it set up for him to. Yeah.
I enjoyed the non-auto tune version.
Because the non-auto tune version gives you it actually in the right key and like the right, because the auto tune messes it all up, so then you can't get copyright claimed.
Yeah,
it's funny. Anyways,
thank you, Eric. That was nice of you to do. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah. I can't wait in editing to listen back to that when I put up the audio version.
I'm gonna rewind the stream later and watch that as well.
Right, that's getting clipped out.
Oh God,
that's gonna be clipped out and be the featured clip on the podcast channel.
I love it. All right, we're like 2 hours.
So what were your thoughts on this whole buying everything out, Jake?
Okay, so there's like good and bad with it, and it remains to be seen if it's overall a net positive or a net negative. But what I like about it is I like change, like exciting things. Like I like the potential that Activision games will be better. Like, and there will be more, and they will utilize more IPs and stuff like Spyro 4 that they were, the reboot Spyro that they like got rid of. Like maybe Xbox brings that back, stuff like that. Excuse me. But on the other hand, it is frustrating that like there's going to be a lot more games locked to certain platforms. And you're right, I'm kind of privileged like you are, where I have all the systems, so whatever I want to play, I can. The other hand, there really is only 3 companies that are making like gaming systems. So if you have a Switch, a PlayStation, Xbox, you will potentially be able to play everything. Now that's a huge thing for some people, but you have stuff like the Xbox Series S that makes that a lot more obtainable. And like, let's say you're primarily a Nintendo or PlayStation player, but you want to play Elder Scrolls 6. If you get an Xbox Series S, you can buy. You don't have to be subscribed to Game Pass indefinitely. You can buy like a 3-month Game Pass card when it goes on sale for $25 instead of $45.
Yeah.
And then boom, if you want to play Elder Scrolls 6 every day for 3 months, you've got it for $25 plus anything else you want to play in that time. That's a Microsoft exclusive. You don't have to just pay blindly every month like you do with Netflix or like other like traditional movie show streaming services. So there are options, and it's like we're going to that digital route anyways, where we are at some point going to be kind of tied to stuff like that. So I like that you can be a little more flexible with it. And if at the end of the day, if the games are better for it and they're making competition, it's going to put pressure on Sony to make more and better games. And because with Sony, it's like their exclusives are amazing, but maybe there's not, like, a lot of people are frustrated there's not as many. But now that Microsoft has all these studios and is going to be putting out these games, maybe Sony's like, okay, we need to make more, and it puts pressure on them and it makes the games better. So the competition helps everyone get better games. So I like that, but at the same time, you know, Microsoft just bought Activision. Everyone's afraid of monopoly because what if, you know, they end up buying Konami or whatever? And they're going to be smart about it, right? They're not going to buy any more studios until the Activision deal is closed, till the FTC can no longer block it. It's legit.
Mhm.
And then they're going to try to buy other companies that will, again, that those deals won't get blocked. They're going to try to be really smart about it. And maybe they'll make Activision games multi-platform for longer than they were going to, for the reason of being like, look, like, we put our stuff on everything. You don't have to worry about monopoly. But like,
Right.
if they get enough studios, eventually, maybe they'll be like, all right, Game Pass. All right, we have all the third-party studios. Game Pass is going to be $50 a month, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? That's the fear that something like that would eventually happen. So right now, I'm excited about it. I hope it'll be fun. Am I nervous about it? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's out of my control. And I have this very large game collection behind me of over 2,000 physical games. And I'll always have those to play. So we'll see what happens in the future. I hope for positive things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
don't know.
really liking your comparison to, like, you know, kind of like how like Netflix and Amazon Prime and like Disney Plus and all these ones, like, they kind of push each other. Even HBO Max now like pushes each other to make more and more and better content, because they're all fighting for subscriptions, and how that could be a future where Sony, Nintendo, and other companies might go that route too. The thing I think's a big difference where like people don't care that, okay, like Disney ripped all of Disney stuff off Netflix because of Disney Plus. People got less upset, besides some of the shows that got canceled. They got less upset about that because they don't have to buy anything new to enjoy Disney Plus. They just got to subscribe for $6 a month to a new service. Whereas it's like, if you bought a PlayStation 5 and you were just planning to own a PlayStation 5 and you loved Sony's games, but then all of a sudden, let's say, you know, the Bethesda deal as an example, because when we know for sure, like, the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be exclusive on Xbox or PC, and you don't have a gaming PC, you're going to feel like, now I need to go and I'm obligated to have to buy a different system to play the one game I really, really want to play that has always been on my platform. This would be akin to, like, this is a really crazy purchase. I don't think it's going to happen, but this would be akin to Microsoft buying out Square Enix, and now Final Fantasy games are only on Microsoft when it's been on Sony ever since the PlayStation 1.
Or if Bungie was still making Halo games, and all of a sudden here comes Sony and
Well,
Halo's-
except Halo's an owned IP by Microsoft,
Well,
but
right,
but yeah, ripping a
back, like,
developer out from underneath.
from the
yeah.
beginning when Bungie was creating Halo.
Microsoft owned the IP from the very beginning.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, I will say really quickly, like, the thing about, like, these is, like I mentioned earlier, it's 3 companies. With the streaming services, it's getting crazy. It's like, okay, NBC has Peacock, there's Disney Plus, there's
Paramount
Hulu,
Plus now.
there's Netflix, there's Amazon Prime. You're paying more than a cable bill to have access to all these streaming services.
Yeah.
With these, even though the price of a console is insane, right? Like, you'd have to pay like $300, $500, like over like $1,300 to have a
entry's
console.
a
But
lot
once you have them, like, assuming the generation lasts a long time, like over 5 years, then you'll never have to pay for more than 3. Like, if you want to have access to all the exclusives. Like, it's just those 3, and you don't have to worry about. So it's almost like a good thing, because, like, if Microsoft and Sony keeps buying up studios, then it's not like a third-party studio could have like their own streaming thing. You know what I mean? If it's just those 3, it's almost more manageable in a way.
I mean, until they price gouge the hell out of you.
Well, I always
Yeah,
look at it
exactly.
too. It's never just those 3. Like people, I bring this up now and then. The biggest sector in gaming has nothing to do with Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony. It has to do with mobile, phones, tablets. That's the biggest sector of gaming. That's the sector when we talk about the gaming industry is the biggest entertainment industry in the world. It's not if you take away the mobile and tablet. That's where like it's something like 80% of all the money flows there for gaming. That's one reason why Tencent is so massive because that's the sector they dominate. And it's interesting because it's just those 3, but then we have our phones and our tablets, and then we also have streaming services where you can literally stream games, which early indications from xCloud is the service works extremely well. Google Stadia actually does work really, really well. People just don't like the pricing structure, so they just say, "Screw that! I don't want to pay $60 to stream a game that you can't control when you lose access to it." Because I think Google Stadia might have been in a better place today if they wanted to keep that pricing structure going. Look, it's $60 to stream the game, but we give a guarantee that if we ever shut our services off, that you can convert all your purchases into full digital downloads for a platform of your choice that it's on. That would have been a nice guarantee because then it's like your purchase is guaranteed. We shut down our servers, you still get to keep your game. You might have to transfer to a different system. You might have to buy a platform or buy a PC, but you still own it. That would have probably made people a lot more happy with Google Stadia. If Google's got the money; they could have guaranteed that back. Easy. They could have like, look, we fail, we got you. But also, this guarantee is helping us ensure we don't fail because it gives you confidence to buy the game. But whatever, they didn't do that. I think we're in an interesting realm where I think there's more options to the game than ever. I think growing up, it was Sega or Nintendo. You had Atari sort of floating in there. Then you had the Neo Geo floating in there. Yeah, you had the CDI floating in there. But for the most part, it's always been like there's 2 big companies and PC. That's where you game. Then smart devices came around, and we can start to game more and more on our phones. Like people always knock, hey, look, we're on a lot of puzzle games now. They're on phone. Maybe you don't like how they monetize. You might not like all the ads work and microtransaction deals. And guess what? We're getting a lot of that stuff in our games already, as it is on these platforms. Why do you think it started? Because people accepted it on phones. So, and now we're getting, I think it was Sony who just announced that they want 10 games as a service games launch by 2026. And then there's that whole sector where now we're getting these never ending games that never end and are probably free to play, but probably also have all these microtransactions. And how many of these games can realistically exist in this space as well? All because games like Fortnite are so successful in games of that ilk where, hey, these games never end. And we can keep making oodles, and like Epic Games is just making billions and billions off of one game. Pokemon Go, biggest mobile app game of all time, billions and billions of dollars. Niantic is now worth almost as much as Nintendo because of one mobile game.
That's insane.
And it's crazy because they had to split the profits on that game, and they still are so huge. And now they've launched other games too that have done good, and they had games before as well. Obviously, they didn't get hired to make the game because they don't have experience. They just never had anything that big. No one's had anything that big. But it's interesting because while there's all these options, I think what people are worried about is there's going to be less. You're going to feel obligated to have to be. You're going to feel obligated to be like me, where you have to own all these platforms. It's like a inconvenience because, like you mentioned, the initial investment of $300, $500 is more. But then it might last a long time. Yeah, but let's say you're sitting on PlayStation 5 for the next 3 years. Finally, Call of Duty goes exclusive to Xbox, and you feel like you got to buy an Xbox. Well, you already lost 3 years of that Xbox's value by the time you bought it, and it might only have 2-3 years left in value at that time when you buy it for $500. That seems like a lot of money to spend just because you want to play one game that's always been on your system. It's just I'm trying to play the devil's advocate here.
I guess for those people, you might want to go with PC because then
But
Ye-
PC, well, it's really hard to even imagine. If you don't already have a gaming PC, it's actually really hard to imagine right now because you can't get GPUs. GPUs cost as much now as building an entire PC used to cost.
Right.
So we're hopeful that in 2023 when the new factories open up that fixes. But there's so many products are behind. Is that new factory really gonna fix it?
hmm
Because there's so many products that need more. It's definitely gonna be better, of course, but it's a situation where like I'm a PC gamer. I'm rocking a 6900X with a 6700 XT, 32 gigs of RAM. I'm balling over here. That's not even like top of the line stuff. 6900 XT, 3090s, 3080 Ti's. Like that's the way you want to go. You want to get the latest 12900K. Cool. Be a baller. But like also that's like a $2,000 PC. That's a huge ask to be like, oh, just go with PC. It's tough. That's one reason why game consoles are so popular because it's just Switch is just $200 for the Lite, $350 for the OLED, $500 or $400 just to get a digital version of PlayStation. But then you gotta buy extra storage. That's a whole other thing. But hoping prices on that get under control at some point. I don't know that the problem is it obviously was using at the time brand new Gen 4. Now they have Gen 5 stuff, but anyways, I'm hoping now that Gen 5's a thing that Gen 4 prices come down. I think what's happening is, and I've tried explaining this to people. Video game consoles and PCs are enthusiast platforms. I know that feels weird to say. We didn't view it as that growing up. That was gaming. But everybody has a phone. Everybody at one point loaded mobile apps on their phone and played them. This is how a majority of children are now consuming games. This is how a majority of adults are consuming games. Right here. We don't need other platforms. So what does that make a dedicated gaming system? An enthusiast. It's where people want more than what a basic gaming device like your phone can do.
Well, yeah, but at the same time,
That makes it a
console
luxury
and
item.
PC gaming is more mainstream than ever.
It is. It's weird too. Like think about it. We say PC gaming is more mainstream than ever because there's more PC gamers than there's ever been, but there's less PCs in the home than there's ever been. PCs kind of sort of become more segregated to that audience. There's less PCs in general in the world. People aren't buying PCs at the same rate they once were, but gaming PCs is really what's keeping that desktop PC, as an example, relevant. Gaming laptops are always going to be relevant just because of school and stuff like that, at least to a point. I'm sure they'll eventually get replaced by tablets because tablets are starting to do a lot of what laptops do. But I just find it to be a really interesting situation we live in because gaming PCs are also still, as we said, stupidly expensive. Most of us don't need PCs in our life. Again, our smartphone has replaced 90% of what. Oh, you need to manage your finances? QuickBooks app right on your phone. Manage
Right.
it all right there. You don't need your PC and Excel anymore to do
A lot
that.
of banks have mobile apps.
A lot of banks even have their own app. Like I'm at BMO Harris, they have literally an entire management thing right there on their app when you log in. That you can manage everything. You can see what percent of your money's been going towards entertainment versus food versus your bills, and you can literally tell it every time a check comes in. Separate money into different things, the budget for your bills. Like it's crazy, and I agree that PC gaming is huge, and I love it. I've loved it since the '90s. I was back there playing Unreal Tournament and Doom, and I don't know if you know this game, the game Gnome way back in the day, and
No.
Return to Zork back in the day. Like these are early PC gaming
God.
days. So I've been PC gaming a long time, and I love it, and I think it's better than ever. But I'm not an idiot. It's a stupidly expensive thing to get into. But when you think I'm going to build a budget gaming PC and it's $1,000, it's like
Right.
that's assuming you can even find a GPU.
Well, honestly, it's cheaper to get pre-builts now, which is really weird.
It is, but then like also, okay, you buy that, you feel like you got to have a monitor to go with it, so now you got to spend another $200-300. The keyboard and mouse is whatever. Usually, if you buy a pre-built, that'll come with that, so you don't got to worry about that. And if you want to use headphones, you don't need speakers then or whatever. But it's still one of those things where it's like that does not sound. You might consider, well, my phone, this iPhone's $1,100, yeah, but you didn't get it specifically to play games. You got it as a multi-purpose device. Why are you buying that PC to play a game? Why are you buying your Xbox, PlayStation 5, Switch to play games? To me, that makes them enthusiast devices. And my defense, I guess, for these company buying, let them buy whatever they want. These companies are making games for enthusiast devices. And people get mad at me when I say this. I think these enthusiast devices are luxury items. They're not meant for everybody to be able to afford to play them. And I don't know that gaming's ever been meant for everyone to afford to play it. At least not at this level. I was a kid growing up. I had no money. I grew up poor. Sometimes we get the old systems, and eventually got to the point that we got the new ones. I barely had any games. The only reason I even got to play games is because of Blockbuster and renting them. It wasn't because we could afford to buy them, and now rentals aren't even a thing. So now if I'm as a dad, yeah, GameFly, yeah, I know. As a parent, I go, well, the best system to get for my family is Xbox because I could just pay one fee and always get these games. But I don't know, man. It's a weird situation where I don't mind the companies being bought because I am fortunate. But also, should I mind it anyways because gaming's a luxury and it's always been expensive. I mean, there was N64 games that were $100 back in the day. It's always been an expensive thing. So, is it really any more expensive than when all of a sudden we don't get Final Fantasy on Nintendo anymore and you got to go buy a PlayStation 1 if you want to play Final Fantasy 6 or no 7? Sorry, 7's when it started. I don't know, man. It's not. I guess I've been in gaming for so long that I'm not upset. Oh no, Activision Blizzard is going to be Microsoft exclusive. Bungie is going to be Sony exclusive. Capcom might be whatever exclusive. Okay, but I've been through this. I've been a Nintendo fan that we had everything, and then we had half of our crap ripped away, and it was on a different platform, and you had to go buy that platform if you wanted to play it. So I've been through this, and I know how expensive it is, which is why I only had one platform for most of my life because it is stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like we're just going through it again. And we have a lot of people who started gaming in the early, to middle, basically 2005 to 2010, 2015 era that are going through this for their first time where their favorite games are being ripped off their favorite platform and potentially going to a different one. And I feel their pain. But I'll just tell you guys, once you get to the point that you are doing well enough as an adult that you can afford more luxuries, it'll be up to you to decide what luxuries you want. Do you want to own multiple platforms that have access to all the games? I'm telling you right now, if you budget correctly, you'll be able to do it as an adult.
Right.
But that has to be a choice. Maybe you have to do that instead of having your Netflix and Amazon Prime, and or maybe you'll be lucky and be able to afford all of it. So it's a luxury. And by the way, I think Netflix and everything else is a luxury too. The only thing I will say is probably no longer a luxury is internet access. Too much of this world runs on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I know third world countries struggle with the internet, but even you'll find free internet places there. In the middle of Africa, you'll find places that have free internet. So it's internet's become too important that I feel that's almost become a utility like electricity.
I agree. 1,000%, yeah.
Which means we also should have better internet everywhere. But that's besides the point. I guess Elon Musk is trying to fix it and give us internet world over satellite. That's going to be not crappy. We'll see. But I don't know. That's just my kind of thoughts on it in general. I'm trying to understand it from a general consumer standpoint, but then I'm I went through this when I was a kid, and it sucked. I just didn't buy the other platform. It's not like I had a bunch of money. What am I going to do about it? And then when I got older, now I own everything. So it gets better once you have money, and you have money when you get older. If you are fortunate and also make good choices in life. Don't make the choices I did, by the way. I didn't get to own everything until my mid-30s. Don't make my choices. My choices are bad choices. No. I had to sell my PlayStation 5. Bad choice. Don't be me.
Wait, do you not have a PS5 now?
No, I do not. I had to sell it last year for financial reasons.
Oh, man.
It wasn't supposed to be that way. Technically, so what happened was...
So that's why you're trying to get one now.
Yeah, we were supposed to go on a cruise last year. And we were just going to the Caribbean, don't need a passport. But for some reason, my fiance is originally born in Russia. She's a full U.S. citizen and has been for a while. But they wouldn't recognize her as a U.S. citizen, so she had to have an active passport. Well, to get a passport takes 4 months. Hers cost $500. And we weren't going to be able to do it in time for and they didn't tell us this until a week before the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to cancel the cruise, but you can't get a refund. That's how cruises work. What you get is a credit for a future cruise. So we had all this stuff. We had all the
I've
kids
heard
away.
so many people going through similar things like this over the.
So we
pandemic.
have like $2,500 sitting in cruise credit that we have to use this year. Which, okay, fine, we go this year, but it's like we still took the vacation because we had someone taking our kids for a week. We've never had a week without our kids. So we took the money that we had set aside as like spending money and just general money. You know, we had like, $1,000 or whatever, or 1,500. And we said, screw it, let's go to Vegas. It's cheap to go there. Well, the problem is you get the hotel, you get the flights. I mean, well, the flights were fine because we just transferred flights, so that wasn't too bad. But you get the hotel now that you weren't planning to pay for. So now all of a sudden you're there for a week. All right, that's most of the money that you had.
Right.
Now I need more money to just eat and do activities. So it's like, well, I don't have anything of value YouTube-wise I'm willing to sell. Like, am I about to sell my laptop or my desktop? I need it for work. So the only thing I have that's worth anything that I technically don't need was the PlayStation. So away the PlayStation 5 went. And it's so dumb because it should have never happened. And we could have just not went on the vacation, but one of us look at my fiance in the eyes and go, honey, I'm sorry, we can't go on vacation because I'm not willing to sell my PlayStation.
No, yeah, I would have the same thing.
No, you get rid of the PlayStation 5. There's no choice. So that's why today I don't have one. And I think my son was upset more. I'm pretty sure that my youngest or my middle child, Aiden, likes PlayStation more than any other platform. Like he literally asks me every day when am I getting another PlayStation 5. But
you'll get one soon. Like I said
I hope
earlier in the stream, I mean, Target might restock tomorrow morning or Friday morning.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I get fortunate here. Right now, I'm waiting on returns and everything else.
Sorry, what was that?
Right now, I'm just waiting on tax returns and paycheck rollover.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Which, of course, when everyone else will be buying it, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. I'll be tuning in on your streams and hoping I get it.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just another reason to watch Jake.
The other reason. There's plenty of reasons. By the way, go subscribe to him if you don't. He's
sure.
awesome. Last topic I want to get to quick. Nintendo Direct happened 7 of the last 10 Februaries. Usually happens between the 10th and the 20th, somewhere in there. So that little 10-day span. For starters, do you guys think we're getting a Direct?
I sure hope so.
You hope so. Okay. Jake, you think we're
I
getting
think we will. Yeah.
So I think the biggest evidence is a video I put up yesterday on Monolith Soft. They just revamped their website. They changed the copyright on their website. Last brand new game they released was 2017. That's the last time their website was copyrighted. Now it's copyrighted 2022. Makes you believe they're going to release a game this year. Plus, they've been hiring people for it. Plus, one of the staff members there mentioned that they were going to have a game to announce this month, and in the Japanese translation of this month meant February. So they were kind of sort of already teasing they had something to announce this month, which, by the way, doesn't mean it has to be a Direct. Nintendo has announced things just randomly on Twitter and stuff, but
I think someone in the chat earlier mentioned that Zippo said there was going to be a Direct in February too, and he's the one that predicted like Skyward Sword ahead of the Direct last summer, and he's predicted a lot of stuff.
I'm not going to go too deep on the Zippo stuff. I don't trust him.
He's much more reliable than Samus Hunter. I'll tell you that.
Neither are reliable.
All right.
I've been covering them for a long time. And
he got that whole Direct right, the Skyward Sword one.
Sort of. He got like 3 things in it right, which is fine. But the 3 things he got right were also stated by several other leakers before he ever.
Skyward Sword was. Oh, really? I thought he
wasn't the originating source of the Skyward Sword stuff. That was stated by like 2 other people, like literally a year ago, that it was going to be announced and come out this year.
Well, yeah, but I think he was the only one that was like, all right, this Direct, they're announcing this.
Sure. And go back and look at his entire E3 that he got everything wrong on. Literally everything. He's literally just making things up.
I mean,
he's been busted. Like, he got banned at Reset Era and NeoGAF for just making things up. I mean, he's just grabbing other people's rumors and saying, "Oh, it's going to happen now."
I mean, you keep saying
interesting. Okay, I knew that about like Samus Hunter because you.
Yeah, he basically does kind of what Samus Hunter does, except
me on her. But I didn't know that about Zippo.
Yeah. Samus Hunter's been busted now, and
what's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo?
I don't know. What's this joke? Come on.
One's really heavy, and the other's a little lighter.
Oh, look at that!
Hey,
sure, not a dad over there. It feels like a dad joke.
I could be. There'd be no way of knowing.
Yeah, it's the whole league culture thing is always difficult. Like for me as a content creator, it's like I don't want a bad talk like a Samus Hunter or bad talk a Zippo because they give me free
Yeah, of
content for
course.
free
You don't
views.
want to be negative, of course.
And they give me free content for free views. Oh, a bunch of rumors. I'm not responsible if those rumors aren't real, but also because in the back of my mind I know, okay, making stuff up, stealing stuff from other people, I refuse to cover either of them anymore.
Yeah.
And it kind of it does hurt the channel because I don't get as many views.
Most reliable, that's like awesome. Jeff Grubb, like
Jeff
you can
Grubb
take
is
his
nice.
stuff back.
What's nice about Jeff Grubb is he does get a lot of stuff wrong, but he's really he's transparent. Two,
Yeah, he's like open. He's like, hey, there's like a chance this could be like. He's not. He doesn't like. I agree.
yeah, one, he's fully transparent. Two, his real name is Jeff Grubb. He's not hiding behind a username. He's an actual journalist in the industry, works for multiple outlets. Obviously does his own stuff as well, because he's got it in his contracts where he can do his game grub mess.
The other thing with him is it's clear whether a rumor that he reports on comes true or not. It's clear that he had actual knowledge, as opposed to Samus Hunter that will like take something that was said, like that was very vague, and like make that their source and their basis. Like it's clear that Jeff's stuff comes from like industry knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and the way that Samus Hunter phrases things, it'll be like this one thing that somebody else said, but all of a sudden go into this philosophical reasoning behind why Nintendo does X, Y, and Z, and it's like you don't know that. You don't know why Nintendo does that. If people knew why Nintendo did that, they'd be easy to predict, and they're not. That's why there might not be a Direct this month, because you trying to predict exactly what Nintendo is doing has always been really difficult. The only thing we can say is, here's what's announced for this year. That's what we expect. Everything else is bonus. Let's go.
Right.
And just like, they got to start advertising Kirby soon. They don't need a Direct to do it, but it would be nice if they have one.
I just feel like they got a whole lot of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. It's a big year. They have so much stuff this year. It feels like this is the year they need to have their standard Direct culture, their spring, their summer, their fall Direct. It feels like they have to have a normal Direct year just because they got too much crap.
Yeah.
They got to advertise all this crap. And this is just what we know.
Or update.
Yeah, this is just what we know. Like, okay, Pokemon's going to do their own thing. They're not going to care about the Directs. Like, if there's Legends Arceus DLC, they'll announce that on their own. But still, like, there's just so much stuff. And, like, we just had an Indie World in December. Usually the next thing after an Indie World is a Direct. So, a lot of things are just lining up. And the fact that there's a lot of stuff that we don't have release dates for. Like, we know March and April. Basically, we know the dates for the games there. We don't know anything beyond that. We got to start knowing. Like, okay, what is your big summer title? We usually know before we get to summer. Well, when do we know? At a Direct, when you give us a release date for a big summer title.
Oh, question for you. This is on a more positive note, because I don't mean to like drag Samus Hunter or anything like that. I always want to be kind to other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I know Samus Hunter did
we're just
at
talking
least
about facts
did
of
have
what
a
was
hard time with
reported.
the backlash after she got busted the one time. I know she at least she acted like she was having a really hard time.
Yeah, and she doesn't.
Mental
she
health
doesn't
is
deserve,
a
even
big
if,
thing.
because she was trying. Maybe she was trying to gain followers or whatever, but she was also trying to report things that were valid. Like, obviously, being incorrect hurts her, and so she doesn't want to do that. I
think her biggest struggle is other legitimate, well-known, reputable leakers and or journalists coming at her.
Well, I was just mentioning the Samsung thing real quick. Well, my question is that in one of your videos, again, watch the content.
I know I'm so
had
surprised
reported on a leak that got the Kirby date right, and I remember you being like, "We'll see if this Kirby." We would be like, "Well, the eShop linked the Advance Wars date, so I don't really give him credit for that. But we'll see if this Kirby date's right." And it was. Yeah. Who was that? You remember who I'm talking about?
I'm glad you're like calling me out on my content right now. It was not Samus Hunter. I know that. It was
No, it was someone that ended up being legit, and you gave him props.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I got to go back and check that video.
Yeah, I'll find it out. I didn't mean to call you out.
No, you're not calling me out. I'm trying to. I make videos every day, so I know what video you're talking about. It's really easy for me to go back and check it. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I just know it wasn't any of the sources that I don't cover anymore. And it was one where I'm like, hey, let's just find out. We don't have
Someone in the chat said Pikachu face on Twitter. Is that right?
I don't remember Pikachu.
Someone
Marco
else said
Maro.
Marco Maro?
Marco Maro was probably it, yeah.
Okay.
And Marco Maro, by the way, has got a
Miracle
lot of
or
stuff wrong
something.
before too.
Okay.
But like getting stuff wrong, to be clear, doesn't make me distrust a leaker. Jeff Grubb gets things wrong all the time. Emily Rogers has gotten
And
things
again,
wrong.
we've all covered
Being
that it's-
wrong.
It's
Like,
transparency or a
Like
lack
when I
of
decided to stop covering Samus Hunter, which hurts me. She's had a bunch of rumors already come out in the last couple of weeks. I could have got a bunch of views on not doing it. It's because of the people that have been saying that like Samus Hunter is not reliable for a while. Then she finally gets busted, and the people that are saying it are the trustworthy people. John, formerly of Nintendo Life, doesn't work there now. Calling her out. John Cartwright and Jeff Grubb has called her out, and Emily Rogers has called her out, and like all these people that have long-standing reputations in this industry called her out, and it's like, okay, well then you get to this point where if everyone who we know is legit is calling out this person behind a username, then probably at this point they're not lying because they are in the know. So
Right.
I got nothing against Samus Hunter, and I hope she's doing fine mental health wise. And
Yeah,
she's continuing
same.
to do
And
her
I wasn't
thing.
even thinking about it when we were just talking about her. Like I never wish anything negative on anyone.
Like she can do her thing, she can live in her bubble, and she can do whatever. Like Zippo. Zippo's been called out a bunch of times. He just doesn't care. He just keeps putting stuff up on his blog, and he leaves it at that. He doesn't try to make a bigger deal out of it than I'm just gonna put stuff in my blog. If people want to cover it, cool. If they don't. He just moves on. And Samus Hunter, I think this last controversy with her, I think made her, because I had a private talk with her about it. I'm like, hey, I know it feels like I came down on you hard, and others did. None of us wish ill on you. It's just we might not view you as trustworthy anymore. However, we want you to do well. You can continue to do what you do. Biggest thing I could tell you as a content creator, sometimes you got to ignore the stuff. You engaged with a lot of it and got even more stuff wrong. Just leave it alone. Live in your bubble. You have your following and just enjoy what you're doing. And, maybe you're lying. Maybe you're not. Or who am I to say? I don't know who you're talking to or who you are.
If I had one suggestion to make,
and she just said thanks for that.
It would be.
And then she didn't block me. I thought she was going to block me.
Wait,
I did say one thing.
If I had the one suggestion though too is also clarify when you're speculating. She didn't really do a good job of that.
That's what I meant with transparency.
She kind of when it was, she kind of made these things as represented everything as fact. When she was kind of speculating on a lot of this stuff. And again, we've also made this comment too of just because the things that ever came true doesn't mean that it wasn't actually going to happen. Things change behind the scenes all the time. And if you make a prediction, just because it's wrong doesn't mean it wasn't true at one point in time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we also got to see that too.
Yeah.
And if she would have, she waited till it didn't happen and then made that explanation. But if she would have presented that information with the rumor like ahead of time, people would have had the expectation, like it would have been all out there, and like it would have covered her and also set people's expectations correctly.
Right.
Yeah. Like she asked me once after all this was going down, like, well, you've posted stuff that ended up not being real. Why don't you feel bad about it? I'm like, one, I source everything and I'm not the source on anything. And that's my insulation, that's my protection. And I still deal with backlash. All the Switch Pro stuff last year. I got blasted and blasted and blasted. And you know what? My channel ended up not being that negatively impacted because the true fans know I'm just reporting. I'm just a messenger. I'm not the source. I'm not claiming any of this is true. I told people to wear tinfoil hats. If you actually watch watch my content, I made it very clear I don't know anything. And like that's the difference. You present things as if you know, even if you don't. And when it's wrong, you'll point out, oh, this was somebody else who said that. And then you won't even name who that somebody else was. And when you're taking the information from them and then not crediting and sourcing them,
if you were right,
I told her, know what you're doing.
Not, then
if you don't credit and source where something's coming from, you say, oh, I've just heard people saying this.
Well, the other thing I will say on to defend her a little bit, this particular situation, it was clear she didn't have a source. It was an article that she just kind of took something from. And but like sometimes when you have legit sources, you cannot reveal them because it would expose them.
Yeah. But In this case, her source was another.
And sometimes people use
leaker.
that to their advantage to make it
Yeah.
seem like they have legitimate sources. Like, oh, I can't tell her; they're gonna get in trouble. Obviously, I leak PS5 drops all the time. Target is a company that never reveals when they're going to restock the PS5, but the employees tell me, and then I communicate that on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I've been wrong with other companies before, like Amazon, because I tweeted out an Amazon drop ahead of time back in March of 2021, like a year ago now. And because I leaked it, Amazon changed the date.
Mhm.
But like I had proof, I had internal screenshots that I shared with identifying stuff marked out. But the reason I know they changed it is because employees that leaked stuff to me were brought into a room with like 20 lawyers and questioned about me. And we all just played dumb and it was fine. But I never leaked an Amazon thing after that because first of all, it's not worth it to put
No.
people's jobs in
Yeah,
jeopardy.
Yeah,
They
right.
want to
But
give
they
people
did stuff. What they did was they looked at when I tweeted out the thing, and they looked at any employee that worked for them that had checked on the PS5 supply in their like computer that day within 1 hour
But
of me tweeting it,
thing
and they
is
questioned all of those.
who
They like
cares?
went psycho about it. So that's why I don't leak Amazon ever anymore, even if I know.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting. As Eric's saying,
Who
though, who
cares?
cares?
Exactly. I feel the same
You're
way.
just
It was,
helping legit people
I
buy a
leaked the
product on
update.
their website.
Yeah.
and of course they changed it and didn't drop that day.
Of course, yeah,
And I
to make you look
got
it
so much
makes you look
because
bad.
every news, like gaming news,
Yeah,
like
because you had built up a reputation. Yeah.
talked about me and like had promoted that, and the amount, like I like wanted to just throw up. The amount of anxiety was just like, and I actually had proof, and I had people backing me up, like being like, no, Jake knew, like here's the thing, but people don't care.
No.
Like,
No, they
so
don't care
even
about
when you
context.
proof and you cover yourself, if you end up being wrong, people are just going to hate anyways. And that's something important to remember. Like, if like Samus Hunter ever listens to this, I'd be like, there's some people that like, even if you got everything right, would be jealous and just would wait for one thing to be wrong, even if you were perfect, and then just jump on you. Like they want you to be wrong. Like you know that. Like the trolls just want you to mess up.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And
Oh
then
yeah. When I made that Capcom
oh,
video, it was
you
funny
gotta
watching.
just-
You.
you gotta
I knew
move
you
on.
were a piece of shit. I'm like,
Right.
I was just making a joke. I'm sorry the joke hurt you. Apparently,
You
my bad.
clickbaity bastard.
Yeah, you clickbaiting asshole. Dude, it starts off, the very first line says Nintendo did, like in the description, Nintendo did not buy them for 5.2 billion. And then it starts off with me on the phone doing this whole skit for 4. Like I thought it was so obvious. And whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You could, I mean, I could have maybe did it better or made it a bit more. Maybe I should have put the Doge dog in the, well, I can't do that. I'll probably get copyright claim
Yeah,
for
right.
that. The Doge dog in the damn thumbnail or something made it a bit more obvious. I don't know. But people are there are legitimately people just waiting for any
Oh,
creator
yeah.
to slip up, make a mistake, and destroy them for it. That Ocarina of Time thing you called me out for.
Yeah.
People were waiting for me to mess up something massive with Zelda knowledge to be like, he's such a faker. He doesn't actually play the game. Well, it's like,
No, that was silly.
I know, but like that's what people do. They wait for like that slip up, and
But you handled it the best way you can, which is how I would have done like probably like a very similar, if not the exact same thing, which is like you're like, okay, you guys all want to call me out on this? Let me take responsibility and be like, yeah, you were right. And like that's the only way to do it. And like everyone makes mistakes. Everyone is human. It's
yeah.
how you react to it.
yeah, and
And
like, and you understand in watching my content, and I hope that other people understand as well, as we get new fans, new followers all the time, that my stuff's unscripted. It doesn't mean I don't do research. But there are things that might come up because it's unscripted that I have to use. I have to dig into my backlog of knowledge, and it's sometimes I might misremember or state something that's incorrect. And that has happened several times, and I really appreciate when the fans, especially, are nice about it and go, "Oh, Nate, it was a different company." Like someone corrected me on Monolith Soft. Like I was thinking on one of my videos, I said, like Nintendo bought it from Square Enix, but they didn't. They bought it from Bandai Namco. And like it was, I'm cool with that. Correct me. I want to be corrected when I make a slip up like that. But also slip up like that, people are more understanding of. They don't get as mad about it and something like, but you claim to be a Zelda expert, and then you didn't even know the ending of one of the most popular, biggest, most important Zelda games of all time. And I'm like, yeah, but guys, how many times have I told you it's not even in my top 10 Zelda games? Like, clearly is not a game I replay all the time. Clearly isn't a game that I pay a lot of attention to anymore. But it's like, that's not an excuse. I shouldn't have got it wrong, but also, hey, I'm human. We all have
Yeah, of course.
misrememberings of many things. And as a channel that's unscripted doesn't mean I don't do my research. It means there might be things I didn't think I needed to research ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, I run my channel the same way too. It's completely unscripted, and I even have very detailed buying guides for every retailer on like when PS5 drops happen, exactly how the website operates and what you need to do to get through.
I always thought.
And those take dozens and dozens of hours of research. But when I actually make the
wonder-
buying guides,
I wonder.
they're still unscripted because the best way I can explain how to do things
Mhm.
is to just talk. Like I could write it out perfectly and read the script, and it wouldn't be it's actually more detailed for me to be unscripted. I'm very similar to you in that way, where like for me to get my point across the way I need it to, I need to just be able to free flow and talk.
Yeah, I mean, because there's people that always think I don't have any notes, and it's like you don't understand. Every video I do, I have a Google document that's probably multiple pages long of information that I spent time researching. I spend more time researching than I do anything else with my videos.
Same.
But again, there's things that I don't realize I'm going to bring up until I
You know
do
what?
it.
Now that you say that, Nate, I feel like probably like creators like you and I, not to like knock people that are scripted, but we probably do more research than the average because we want to be able to freely talk. So in order to do that, we have to be experts. But by the time we start talking about it, by the time we hit the record button,
before
right? We need to know it
hands
like the back of our hand.
Yeah. Like tonight when the financial briefing comes out and the sales data is coming out, immediately when the data hits, I got to be like, okay, I'm about to talk about this. There's new information popping off here for the next hour at this meeting. I'm gonna wait till all the information's out, then do one video. But while this information is coming, I'm okay. Talking about metrics, talking about this, talking about that. Okay, I better start researching other sales data to make comparisons of prior metric games. Better research this, better research that, so I know what we're comparing all these metrics to, because Nintendo's not going to bring all this stuff up. At least we're not going to get the full details anyways until a week from now when they finally give us the translation report out there. So yeah, it's a ton of research I do, and I still make mistakes, and it's okay. And I know some people.
Same here. Yeah.
You can call. That's why something you're a fake gamer. I'm like, look, I don't play everything. I don't.
Especially when you're making daily content.
A lot of my free time is the daily.
Right. Like, yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, but like, I don't know. Like, I would rather you like as just taking me as like a guest on the show out of it, just like me as a fan of you. I would rather you make mistakes and me get a video every day than like you like making sure everything's perfect and I might get one video a week. You know what I mean? It's like kind of a trade-off. And like if you got things wrong so bad where it was like a detriment to the content, like maybe you do once in a while, but like overall, like it's like when people call you out on something, it's kind of just more to just be snobby, like more to just be like, you're wrong because you were wrong. They might understand what you meant, or like whatever. Like, so like when you look at it like that, it's like, even when you do get something wrong, it's probably only like 1% of the time that it's like, it does anything like negative, like maybe like, I don't even know what it could do, but just with all the other content, like, I just appreciate it. Like I said, like your videos, like Review Tech USA's, like, I'm just like, when I see a new one pop up, I'm like, all right, this is juicy. Like, I got something to watch, and I just pop it on.
It's just, I don't want to spend a lot of time. It's just people. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that making my video.
No, dude, I watch your videos for you.
I see out there that
no one else can replicate that.
Like Mark Rober as an example. Yeah, his videos are infinitely more complicated and take a hell of a lot longer to make. That's why he only does one a month. And they're amazing. Mr. Beast, same thing. He's doing daily videos. He's got 1 billion channels now, but still, yeah, a lot more planning, a lot more of this, a lot more of that. But like, I cover and talk about news. That stuff happens daily. I got to find a way to find things that are interesting to talk about. If there isn't, then I got to find other things that I can bring up from the past that I've jotted down as notes of ideas. Give you guys like a little tease as an example. There is a content idea floating out there right now for my channel. Shout out to my MCN for this, where Eric and I get our wireless lav mic set up and go around to local pawn shops and try to find Nintendo stuff.
Ooh.
And spend a few.
That sounds sick. I want to see that.
I am
kind of do like a
Nintendo
Nintendo Hunter series.
That's
It's
cool.
like that's totally out there, right, guys? That's not a
I
news
am
thing,
actually,
but that's a really nice
I'm actually
weekend
game for this.
video when there's no news. You drop a really unique piece of content like that you don't have to rush.
Yeah, that's a clutch
This
like
can
Saturday,
drop
Sunday
anytime.
video.
This can drop anytime. You can record
Yeah.
it now and it can come out 3 months from now. It doesn't matter. I can take my time with that while I also do my daily content. And
1,000%.
shout out to my MCN for that
Yeah,
idea.
that
It
is
was
a
awesome. She
fantastic
even
idea.
said that like,
Who's your MCM?
Screenwave Media.
Okay, I thought it was your Man Crush Monday. Okay, you meant your okay. I'm just kidding.
No, I got no problem shouting them out. They're a very interesting MCN. They're way different than anyone I've ever worked
Oh, okay. I when I blew up, I signed with BBTV. Thank God I only did a 1-year thing because they
please
did
tell me you're
nothing
out.
for me.
Please tell me.
And I finally got them off my channel
Yeah,
in
no.
December, and it's
I was
amazing.
with them too. They are horrible. They do nothing.
Yeah.
They just take money.
Exactly.
Oh, we'll do meetings with you, and we'll okay. So in our meeting, that we have 45 minutes that you're going to tell me how to improve my channel. This is the very first time you've looked at my channel. You're not going to be able to tell me anything I don't already know because I'm already an expert on my channel. I'm already an expert on my space because I live in it.
Mhm.
You don't, and you're going to give me general advice that works for some K-pop channel. So I don't care what you're saying right now. It has nothing to. Oh yeah, we think that you should have more explosions in your thumbnail. No, that just doesn't even work in my space. What are you doing?
So,
What?
dude, they didn't even talk to me for a whole year. The guy that like signed me
Yeah, they
on,
at least had like 3
quit.
meetings with
Wow.
me.
quit after 1 month, and I was like, "Oh, can you assign me a new person?" They're like, "No."
Yeah, like my
And,
new
I made
MCN.
trending on YouTube like over 20 times last year.
Yeah.
I was on the Today Show. I was on NBC multiple times. I was on the front page of the New York Times. I was on
didn't do anything.
CNN. All this stuff. They were totally clueless, and
Yeah.
they would send me emails about like, "Oh, this creator got like achieved this," and I was like, "Do you guys have any idea what I'm doing?
What
Do you
I've done?
care about me at all?"
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
So
What's
frustrating.
great about Screenwave Media, and I mean, right now I will go to bat for them like crazy. Is they assign you a person that's only in charge of a small number of accounts. That person literally reaches out to you every day to see how you're doing. They will schedule as many meetings with you as you want. You can reach out to them anytime. It literally, like you said, I haven't even met with anyone in a whole year. She's now met with me 4 times in the last 3 weeks.
That's awesome.
They bring sponsorship deals to my table and ask me if I'm interested in this company. I'm not going through my emails. They are like, look, we have, I don't know, Gatorade is looking for some sponsorships through us. Are you interested in potentially being part of this? And here's the ad rates I think that are probably worth charging for your channel if you would like to do that, or what kind of sponsorship deal do you want it to be a podcast thing? Do you want it to be a dedicated video? Do you just add?
Also, the reason why we have a podcast channel.
Oh yeah, the reason why we have a podcast channel. That was their idea. And like they're very hands on. Like I just met with my representative today, and she's like, I just wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you were thinking about this. You need to let us know about any con you're going to. We don't care if it's Comic-Con. We don't care if it's PAX. We don't care if it's E3. Let us know.
Are you going to PAX, by the way? PAX East?
Probably not. We'll see. Are you going? I mean, that might be enough reason to go.
in Boston, so
that might be enough reason to go.
Yeah,
that legitimately
would
might
be
be enough reason to go just to meet up. And
dude, I would take you guys out. We'd have a great time if you came.
All right. Well, when is PAX East?
April 21st to 24th.
April 21st coming up. Okay. I'll have to keep that in the back of my mind. And,
Yeah.
check the schedule.
It's register. You can register. You can still register for a media badge. You
Yes,
should get approved. No problem.
And that was one thing they told me because like at E3 we don't qualify for media badge.
I know
like
content creators with way less subscribers and Twitter followings than you that were easily approved. So you definitely.
Yeah, and that was the thing she broached me today. She said we will literally get you basically a media badge to anything you want to go to. If you don't want to go through the trouble, or heck, you need a deal on a flight, you need a deal on a hotel. Like we're here to help you. You're not alone. You don't have to. We deal with this daily.
Right.
And like other MCNs I've been with are just like BBTV. Two shits about you. Unless you're like
if you come to
PewDiePie,
PAX East too, you can come over to my house. Check it out.
Your house does look pretty baller in all the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll play some games.
Little
Dude, I have
jealous of that man
multiple
cave.
Hori racing wheels for Mario Kart. We can actually like
all
do it up.
the racing wheels. It'd be funny if you had the God, what is that? They had the blow up ones at one point. I don't know if that was the Wii or Wii U era. They had literal blow up versions that you could stick your Wiimote in, and like you're sitting in a little car. Oh my God.
Lord.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but they actually existed for a small period of time. I'm like, who the hell bought these? I'd be breaking those after the first race I lost and got hit by a shell.
There were so many silly accessories like that for the Wii, but I'm kind of nostalgic for them.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what I was talking about earlier? Like the thing that you put your Wiimote in, it was like a gun?
Yeah, yep. I remember
Almost
that.
as good as a finger gun.
Almost as good. That's you gotta if you have that on hand.
It's literally right over here, because like I said, I still play it a lot. Hold on, I want to see if I can find one.
Cheer stream.
Share stream, everybody. You guys should be
yeah.
release that at my channel.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I like this video already.
We might be having technical.
I got the PTO. I'm good. I like it.
So, Eric.
Yeah.
You notice that we're rocking eWin Racing.
Yes, we
and
are.
he's rocking eWin Racing.
Heck yeah.
This stream is totally not sponsored by eWin Racing.
No. E3 was partially.
But we all got
sponsored
eWin
by
Racing.
eWin Racing.
You all got eWin. Yeah. Trying to see what that giant red box is in this background.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
Can't quite tell either.
He must be struggling. He said it was right over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's good news and bad news.
Good. Yeah. Bad news is you didn't find it. That's all.
Bad news is I did not find it. The good news is I found Philip.
Oh, nice.
There it
you
is.
go.
There it
you go.
is. Nice.
Good boy.
How's it going,
Yeah.
Philip? All
Good
right.
boy.
All right. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap up the podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else you guys want to chat about quick.
No.
I mean, obviously, we meet up at PAX with lots to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I had a great time, by the way. Hopefully I didn't veer off topic too much.
Oh, you're fine. This podcast is all about being chill and just talking about gaming and having a good time. Like, that's what we did.
You act like this podcast ever has like a straight 100%. We're always on topic.
I love Camelot 331. But like having a mom was one of the most interesting podcasts ever. It was the podcast we least talked about video games on a video game podcast in my life, and it was really, really interesting. We had topics. We brought up the topics. He's like,
I'll come back again this month. I'll come back again next week if you want. Like honestly, I don't even want it to end right now. But
there we go. Jake Randall now becoming the new co-host.
Yeah, right.
of the Nintendo Prime podcast. Well, hey, we could probably lock you in for next week. Go back to back weeks. Why not?
Yeah.
If you want, or if you want to see.
No, I don't have anybody else scheduled right now. That's the thing. As long as I got nothing scheduled, come back. It makes my life easier.
All right. You know that I'm very flaky about scheduling, but once I get locked in a spot, that's the reason why I'm flaky about getting it scheduled, is because once I commit, I don't back out.
Okay, lock it in next Wednesday.
All right, I'll be here.
Randall back for round 3, right? It'll be the third one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
I think it's round 3.
It'll be round 3.
Awesome.
It'll be.
All right, well then I guess we'll see you next week. I mean, I'll tell you behind the scenes about some stuff, but yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you listen to the audio version, I'm sure this was all over the place for you guys.
Oh yeah, but nothing new.
Nothing new. You guys should be used to it by now. You know what's happening. This was the Nintendo Prime Podcast. You can listen to us everywhere that podcasts can be found. Spotify, iTunes, all your podcast apps. It's on everything. You can also obviously check us out at the Nintendo Prime Podcast YouTube channel. Just type in Nintendo Prime Podcast on YouTube and it should pop up now. I think it actually pops up in searches
I think it's
now.
actually showing up now.
You can obviously find Jake Randall. Literally just type Jake Randall into Google and it's just, he's everywhere. As he said, he was on the Today Show. He's just everywhere. Jake Randall is the man, the myth, the legend. The only person I know that is a YouTube content creator but has a bigger following on Twitter. Why? Because he's tweeting out about PlayStation 5 and all these drops and everything. And that was a really, really big thing over the last year that people were trying to follow all these Twitter channels to get all the drops. So there's a lot of other places that do it as well.
Thanks again for the donation to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, by the way.
Yeah.
The $164. I really, really appreciate it. That was really awesome. And you guys both donated last time I was on to the CF Foundation as well, which it's not expected ever. But it's
No. No,
Like,
I literally knew it was gonna make you smile because I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, it didn't have to be that. I could have been a different charity, but I'm like, you know what, we're having the man, the
Yeah,
myth, the legend
right.
on. Just makes sense. Let's just do that charity all over again.
And
Why
I
not?
just had a
And
phenomenal day, and
to cystic fibrosis is, I donated to like 7 charities last year. They were the only charity that sent me a Christmas card.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they are good like that.
So that was really, really. I'm like, you know, you didn't have to do that, but like this, it's nice. I like that. I
Yeah.
like it, like showing just a smidge of appreciation.
right.
I mean, it was only $100. It's not, the end of the. But hey, a smidge of appreciation, it goes a long way. It makes me want to give
I
again.
mean,
So
it's that $100 is a lot of money.
Well,
Even if you have a lot of money, there's a lot you can do with it. So
Yeah.
it means a lot.
and that
Yep.
$100 could be the one that changes the world. I mean,
Exactly.
well,
If
it's
there's
kind
ever
of
a
like
cure
when
for CF that gets found, like you'll know that you're part of it.
like a lot of people don't know this, but like back when the ice bucket challenge was the big thing, that was all about fundraising for ALS. And they apparently, because of the ice bucket challenge, they cut. It was something like 10 years of research was able to be done within 2 years because of the fundraising from the ice bucket challenge, which was like, every bit goes a long ways, guys. You never really know. We're all trying to make lives better for people that are struggling from a lot of different things, both mental health and physical health. It's a struggle. I don't have the physical issues, but there's some. I'm a bit crazy, guys. Gotta be a little crazy to do what I do. I think just a smidge,
Oh,
crazy.
I think literally everyone, even if it's not like a diagnosed mental or physical illness or disease, I think everyone is going through stuff that's not easy. Everyone
Yeah.
has
oh, for sure.
something, and I just think it's really important to always just try to support and love each other.
Been there too.
So
Yeah.
I'm really
you
corny,
guys.
but I really feel that way.
Oh no,
You're
probably not
totally
wrong.
spot on. So everybody out there, obviously take care of yourselves. Have a lovely rest of your evening, night, day, week, whenever you're
wait.
listening.
One more thing.
Just one more thing.
I know you've already been telling people subscribing, which is awesome. I'm not trying to plug myself. I know I could if I
No,
wanted
go
to.
for
but
it.
No,
what I was
plug away.
going to say is my pinned video or my featured video on my YouTube channel that talks about my cystic fibrosis a little bit
there you
because
go.
we didn't even mention that I have it. Like I'm sure most people assumed or already knew. But so it's like a 5-minute video. So if you're interested in learning more about what cystic fibrosis is, you could check that out. Also, there's a movie that's on Netflix now called 5 Feet Apart that is about 2 patients with cystic fibrosis. So that also, if you're just
Yep.
interested in learning about it at all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted
Yeah,
to
no,
say-
no, it's good to know
that's-
because a
that's
lot of
good
people
to know
listening will
for
be like,
sure,
I don't
yeah.
even know what that is. I've never heard of it. That doesn't,
Right.
Yeah, and I've
Right.
actually seen that movie on Netflix. It's a good one, guys. Especially if you don't know anything, it can be a really big.
Yeah.
eye-opener.
I'd say it's honestly kind of I think it's more marketed for maybe high school to early 20s girls, maybe.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it
a
definitely,
thing like that.
it's
But
definitely that vibe.
It
But
also,
it is.
it's a decent movie, and it does actually tell you a lot about CF. It's good. It's worth a watch.
So there you guys go. Otherwise, check out Jake Randall on all his magical places. Check us out as well. We hope you guys have a lovely day, and we'll catch you in our next episode next week.
All right. Bye,
Later.
everybody. Thank you so much, Nate and Eric.
Yeah.